I think it caught me mid pose. Hey. Oh.
Make that noise again.
Oh. That was not quite the same noise. Hello, everyone.
I'm
gonna assume that.
If you go into multi-action, if you double-click that, yeah, it's got a tweet in it. So,
So
Twitter was like, no, I don't feel like it. You've tweeted this tweet too many times.
no. Sometimes
There's
my
no
my
account
tweet deck's
in
like,
here.
no, don't feel like it.
I don't want to do
Huh?
that.
There's no account in here. It needs a Twitter account to work.
Yeah, but it had one. Okay, we'll fiddle with it later.
Whee!
We definitely had one. So.
We sure did.
The
We
President of the
sure
United States.
did. Whatever. Hi.
Hi.
It used to be peanut butter and exalted.
I honestly don't see why not.
Don't tempt me further.
Oh my god, I love.
How would you
peanut
have
No.
peanut butter dumplings if you didn't have peanut butter? I'm sorry,
peanut
now
butter
I made
balls.
myself hungry.
What kind of peanut
Oh,
butter
no.
balls?
The sesame covered ones. The little. Oh no, I'm thinking about something else. I'm thinking about sesame balls. Anyway.
You're thinking a red bean paste.
Yeah.
I mean, peanut butter balls are great. Peanut
There's
butter
those that
balls.
are covered in chocolate.
You cover those in some dark chocolate.
So, welcome to our cooking
hi.
show today, in which we just
Hi.
list delicious food.
I'll just go and get our 2-kilogram jar of peanut butter and put it in here.
Kilos? That's a lot. Like multiple kilos. That's a good amount of peanut butter. Yeah.
You got a nut butter every day there, Scott.
I don't think nut should be the verb here, John. Oh,
Is
I'm
that-
sorry. Nut butter was the verb. My bad. Ay, ay, ay.
You got a nut butt every day. And
That's it. He's gone,
I'm
folks.
so happy to be back.
Allow me to type something in chat that would otherwise have been typed in chat.
Okay, good.
Or are you taking over for?
Yeah.
Or she who knows 10,000.
'Cause we could salute
things.
she who knows 10,000. Or entropy. Or strength of.
Really.
I think we're modless today.
Yay! We can do anything we want.
Oh no. Can I
Yes.
take my XP back?
Can I take this shirt off?
Right?
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Well done, Pook. Good job.
Oop, no. Woo.
Pugajutsu. Well, the little known fact is that if you end up partnered with Twitch, you actually get to mod every channel.
Wow. That seems like a great benefit. Pook got me to say yesterday that I wanted to be on Pook's penis.
Yeah, he sure tricked you into saying
He
it.
sure tricked me.
Yeah, that's a real trick.
Have you scheduled your
Your
time
appearance on his penis.
your time on Pook's penis?
I have not yet. No, it was a general invitation. It was sort of a, text you up, kind of drop by
It's
situation.
an open penis season.
A
so to
booty
speak.
call, if you will. Yeah. What?
Open penis season.
Open?
Does
Penis
anybody want to
also-
actually describe what penis is so that we don't get banned from Twitch?
I'm trying to remember. It was Pook's excellent
New.
Neopets?
Internet show.
new internet show. Yeah, exactly. No, get banned. As
Get
partner.
banned.
Pukajitsu was having an awesome time on his birthday the other day.
Pook's
interviewing
exciting new
folks.
internet show.
Yeah, I thought
That's-
it was exciting.
That's what I said.
Exciting Neopets internet
I
show,
don't
which
think-
will be the
That's the one that you're
Cool.
gonna guest star on.
yeah.
Just play
I insist
Neopets.
we play Neopets.
Well, no shit. What else are you gonna do?
That's how I learned
Talk about Neopets?
HTML.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Fucking Neopets.
Open bracket. Body. Close. Well, less than body, greater than.
Yeah, exactly.
So sweet.
Ooh.
Oh, the exciting Netrunner internet show.
Ooh.
Coming out in what I think is a little less than a month is System Gateway, which is Netrunner's new initiative to help onboard new players.
The spoilers they've been putting out so far look exciting in the sense that they all look very new player friendly. So nothing's too weird and obscure. esoteric and stuff, and it looks cool. I find it really cool.
Except the Scots who play it.
Well, that's why they call me Scotty Esoteric Device Humphrey. Weird. They don't.
You thought Netrunner was totally dead, but you were wrong.
Think again.
As a slight aside, Android Netrunner was a game that was being published by Fantasy Flight Gaming. However, they lost the license and then ended the game, even though it was still quite popular. It isn't really known why they lost the license. It's never been officially announced. Might have had something to do with Cyberpunk 2077. Might have had something to do with Wizards of the Coast deciding that they didn't want to let them have the license anymore. Who knows? However, a fan organization called Nisei has started up, which has essentially kept it going. They've released 2 sets already. They're releasing a third. They've taken over the organized play for most people. It can't be official because there is no official, but it's as close as you can get.
Yeah, we got some fans of the game here on the show, and I think we also have fans of this game here in the chat. So that's kind of fun.
Why would you
too.
be here if you were a fan of this show? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Hate watching.
I kind of hope we have some hate watchers.
That would be amazing.
There's like one person just like, fuck, I hate you. Every Sunday.
You don't play Exalted the way I play Exalted.
That's their
Bruce
old
Banner watching
CRT
us?
monitor, yeah.
Very nice.
Shaking the shit out of it.
I'm disappointed in the way you dress yourselves.
Hey!
I could undress
you,
myself.
Dad?
That would make you happier.
Oh,
Ben!
Fuck!
I do understand hate watching. I just don't agree with it. But then again, have you ever hate watched anything? I feel like I probably have.
I've tepid watched things, like shows that do absolutely nothing for me, and yet because it requires no emotional or mental commitment, I just put it on and then do other things. Like Emily in Paris is a perfect example of that. Watched it all the way through. Will definitely watch season 2. Could not really care less about it.
I've seen things that I have hated while watching them, but I didn't go in with the intention of hating it.
That's true. I've seen things that I initially, I guess in terms of hate watching, I've only hate watched if I'm already in the process of watching. I won't tune into something because I know I'm going to hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
But sometimes I will
do that to
finish
myself.
something because I hate it.
Because I must.
I'm not going to let them win.
How dare you?
Oh shoot, I don't have the teleporter thing.
Run.
Neil!
Gale!
I said Neil, but yeah.
Oh,
that works.
yeah,
I heard
Gale.
Neil and
Okay.
I was like,
Gale would have it open.
Gale. Yeah, Gale would not be so much fun. Let's do this thing.
Woo!
I remember watching the movie Daylight, which is a Sylvester Stallone vehicle, which also coincidentally had Viggo Mortensen before he got big. And it's about people who are just trapped in a tunnel, and they need to get out of the tunnel. It was when,
Okay.
like, you know, apocalyptic films were popular, like
Sure.
disaster films. It was essentially a disaster film. It was just like, here we are in this tunnel.
Oh. It's kind of
And
boring.
I hated it. And I sat through it because my uncle was visiting from Toronto, and I was like, oh, I don't want him to be disappointed. And when we got out, he was like, oh, so did you enjoy the movie? And I'm like, the special effects were pretty good. And he was like, yeah, the special effects were pretty... And then eventually it became very clear that both of us absolutely detested it. Neither wanted to leave because they were worried the other one was having a good time.
Oh,
yeah.
charming.
Which is, in much the same way, how I feel about Exalt. No, wait.
Whoa, we're right here.
Considering that you cannot win any kudos from Aragorn, we're going to ask that Aragorn skip ahead by 2 minutes when she gets to this point in the VOD. So you can say what experience you spent, but you'll get to say it again next week so that she can pretend.
Taking credit twice
Who
in a
spent
row.
experience? 3, 2, 1, go.
I'll just take my thumbs down over here.
It's okay. You have until next week to pretend
Yeah,
that
it's
you
true.
bought it
Then I
this
can
week.
spend a lot.
I purchased a charm It is a lore charm, which is called Elemental Concentration Trance, and it basically allows me to introduce facts relating to my element, so earth, or stone, which thus becomes architecture, as if I had a lore background in it.
Or like, if you're,
That mountain exists and has always been there.
or if you're stoned, like you can introduce facts about weed.
These bugs are super dank. No, that would be a wood aspect.
Oh, that sounds excellent.
I got wits 4.
Yay! That's good.
Getting sharper.
That's good. Well.
I like to think that that if you actually increase your wits, you sit there, you just open your cranium, you pull out your brain, and you just start.
Sharpening.
Like sanding it?
Or like a sharpening steel.
It feels sharper now. And if you buy up your appearance, you have to undergo a makeover episode. Where, like you get one of your friends to drag you to the exalted equivalent of a mall. So like
Big mistake.
Nexus.
Montage, as in
Pretty pyres.
Is there a
walking down the-
possibility that we could do a prequel episode, or at least a prequel flashback to before Pyres had Appearance 5, to the point where he got made over to have Appearance 5?
But weren't
Please say
you
yes.
born this way?
I should write that as part of my backstory. Yes, I came out of the womb or out of the egg or whatever, looking incredible. I don't know. I probably should know that.
Are you implying that Dragon-Blooded are hatched?
I actually don't. I literally do not know. I assume not,
believe
because
they're
they're
born,
human,
like,
right? So like,
Now I'm just imagining like your Sifu, right, sitting there, and you're like, okay, well, are we going to learn more about the sword today? And he's like, no. Child, I have to tell you that when you grow up, one day you're going to learn about the utility of applying ice to your chest so that it stands out when you wear a tight shirt.
ooh. Oh my god.
These are the tips you need to really breach that 4 to get to the 5 level for.
Yeah. It's well, it was important for my character.
The razor blade that leaves you with the permanent 5 o'clock shadow, but like,
God, I
Yeah.
wish I could have that perfect degree of facial hair. Oh, sorry, I'm just touching myself on stream.
Do you want me to start shaving your face like before you wake up in the morning?
Literally, no, thank you.
All right, fair. Just
Try
thought I'd
the
ask.
Phillips One Blade.
Yeah, I could.
What, you don't want to hatch Dragon Bloods? I want to hatch Dragon Bloods.
Let's get them hatched.
gotta catch him. Oh, Dragon-Blood.
Dragon Bloods.
Go, Pyres! Tonk, 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 tonk. Psh, oh.
Oh.
Used ripped
Yeah.
shirt.
Pyres, you
It's
stunned,
extremely
yeah.
effective.
Gale used.
Withering Stare.
Be nice to someone. It's not very effective.
It's
Not
not very
very
effective.
Arresta used sneak. Critical failure.
Oh no. Can't you introduce a fact that like all soil you walk on like absorbs sound or some shit? I don't think that's how that works. That sounds like a poor
No,
application.
Scott, it
of
doesn't
words.
sound like anything.
You know what also doesn't sound like anything, and yet still manages to convey information, would be the paper.
Oh.
Now that was a segue.
Yeah, nailed it.
Excellent segue, yes.
The game hosted yesterday after breakfast began and ended in an upset. Games Master Vieren performed the opening with little fanfare, not even acknowledging the participants.
Oh, yeah.
He stated nothing except that the last Fang standing would be victorious. Only when the 6th year Fang's giant's tome leaped at the serpent's coil over a match of gateway were the combatants revealed. Commandant Nuven reportedly left the audience at the time of the match. Despite the surprise attack, Serpent's Coil managed to rally and engage in the brawl on equal footing. The fight was destructive and ultimately ended in a victory for the Serpent's Coil. Students watching the game began protesting the disbandment of losing fangs in the wake of a third game. In response to demands for better explanations, Games Master Vieren canceled all classes for the day, claiming the full support of the faculty. This power, if it truly belonged to the Games Master, would put the position above all except the Commandant. Only time will tell the further ramifications of this clash.
Heard in the hallways. I saw a 5th year holding hands with a 2nd year. Sinus, of course. Do you catch Brevin trying to blame the lost hand for what the teachers were doing?
Ugh.
I know the guy's bitter, but so tacky.
I don't know what the quartermaster is up to. I think she's trying to set some students apart for herself. We'll see if the new Fang sets the same kind of pace as the lost hand, though I'll feel a bit silly gossiping about the quiet salamander. I can't believe the Commandant is still putting up with Vieren. If any other teacher did that, she'd have him fired out of a cannon. What do you think he's got on her? Oh, interesting.
Who doesn't like cannons?
Head cannons?
Everybody here loves cannons.
I don't know, John.
picture of
Doesn't
spider.
feel very safe.
Oh,
I'm
segue.
sorry.
Are we doing segues today?
I guess.
Cool,
The
cool,
name
cool.
of the game is Segways. Hi, folks. These cards are our safety system that we have in place. They ensure that we as players and Games Master are having optimal safety and optimal fun at the same time. You, the audience, do not have cards, but you do have options, and we'll get to you in a second. Green, if somebody shows a green card, that means that they are enthusiastically consenting to what is going on, even though their PC, NPC, or they themselves might appear otherwise. They're given the go-ahead. A yellow card means that we need to take a quick pause, and the person who pulled the card needs to make the table aware of something. It's usually a small pause just to get everyone informed of something. Red card means stop. And we're probably going to go to a BRB screen while we talk internally. And we will only resume play if and when the person who pulled the red card says that it's okay. It should also be pointed out that the use of a card does not have to be justified. And in terms of joking around, the only card you are allowed to joke around about is the green card. Also, a card being pulled is not an accusation of somebody else at the table. We really want to encourage the use of these cards, so that's very important. Audiences, what can you do? It's important that you be safe and be having fun too. You can always message John by whispering at RPGClinic. You can normally message one of our mods. We are modless today, so that is the option that is available to you in terms of messaging. And then you can also stop watching the stream if you need to. We'd be sad to see you go, but it's really important that you make your safety and comfort a priority here.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And on that subject, heads up, folks. Got some stuff going on in my life today. I'm here because I think this is the best place for me to be right now. But if I have to step away, it's 99.9% chance it's something out of game. Yeah, I'll flash yellow card, and I've asked that folks try to continue game. Because yeah, that's where I'm at. So thanks for
Coolio.
understanding.
Coolio.
Good to keep going?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Cards.
Yep.
There for a reason.
Oh, that's a segue.
Oh my god. Perfect.
When I was in school, cards started to be a thing. People would play. At first, it was honestly just a standard deck of cards, the 52 or 54 card deck that people would play any number of games. And while I'm pretty sure that my school was at one point trying to encourage us to play bridge, it ended up mostly being asshole. But after that, it moved on. Magic the Gathering started growing in prominence, and then other games, and then other games. And even when I was in the upper parts of my education, same thing. Cards were everywhere. it's because we actually love playing games. And when you're in school, that's kind of one of the only times that you get to play games with people who you interact with directly as peers. The ability to interact directly as peers with people in your family can be kind of rare when you're still at school age. Even when you're getting up there, when you're in college or university, there's still this sort of indication that somebody is your older or younger sibling, unless you're me. And so you end up with your friends. You end up playing with your friends. But games, as we've seen, can sometimes have consequences. They aren't always there for fun. And my question to you going forward is, how important is it to continue to win? Maybe it's important to play everything put in front of you. Maybe that's what everyone's depending on. Or maybe the trick is to find the game that you actually want to play and play that instead. Either way, I'm sure you'll find which game is important. But for now, you are still standing just outside the kind of common grounds in the forest, as all of you are surrounding Leanne, who is the student who's been responsible for delivering the invites for the games up to this point. You want to remind people what you have found out from her?
Yeah, Leanne doesn't know too much. She admitted to delivering misses to us, but she didn't want to out the person that she promised to deliver more. The person who gave us the third missive, the most recent one, wanted us to win, so because we, in their opinion, could be sort of like, could stand strong against the hate that would come our way. We learned that the second game, that was a couple games ago, was supposed to be the Bearded Fang versus the Golden Thread. So in fact,
It's the Bearded Skull.
Bearded Skull. I wrote Bearded Fang. That's hilarious. Sorry.
Everyone has a bid.
Jacob
you can't be
Tutu
in this
meets the
fang.
Hooded Fang?
Oh, shit.
Oh, because it's Bearded Skull Fang. That's why.
The Bearded Skull.
But of course, the Lost Hand was replaced the Bearded Skull. And the very last thing that happened was Leanne showed us, I think, a scroll from ... Like,
Yeah.
as in, things are going to get worse when I show you this.
Yeah.
My quote was this. This is how it gets worse. When she was showing us the scroll.
I'm going to write that down. That's much better.
Good quote.
Ooh.
She stands there holding the scroll. And she's chewing her bottom lip, but beyond that, she's standing tall. Well, she's not terribly tall, but she's at least, she doesn't seem to be backing down, but she doesn't seem happy about what she's trying to offer you.
I'd like to reach for the scroll.
You notice that its seal isn't one that you recognize. It's a gateway piece, specifically the flag.
I'd like to very carefully take the seal off before opening the scroll.
Doing your best to, you're not trying to like keep it for specific forgery purposes, but you're trying to make sure that it's intact, that you can keep looking at it.
Yeah.
Leanne, just for what it's worth, Leanne doesn't stand terribly tall, but she has the sort of fiery complexion and hair of somebody who's a fire aspect. She tends to wear clothing that doesn't restrict her. Like she favors clothing that is quite loose, possibly because she's known as somebody who's at least quite fast for a fire aspect anyway. Inside, the missive simply writes, You cannot trust Juen. She was the one who picked who got expelled.
Do I recognize the handwriting?
No. Very specifically, you do not. However, you can now register it in your brain so that you'll be able to.
Beep boop beep boop boop.
Gale activated.
Who gave you this? Same person?
I found it next to the missives that I was supposed to deliver last night.
How do you know who it's intended for?
Every time I receive one of these missives, there's a small note attached to it that says who it's supposed to go to. I'm supposed to remove them before I deliver them.
And?
This one had a note for you.
So why didn't you deliver it to us with the game invitation?
Because I didn't recognize the seal.
So what were you going to do with it?
I don't know.
You were just going to hold on to it? What were you going to do with it?
I don't know.
I don't find that an acceptable answer. You've been carrying it around all day. You must have had some kind of plan.
Gale, this kind of... I don't want to speak on behalf of you, Leanne, but I imagine that this missive seemed frightening, perhaps, not knowing who it was from, not knowing whether it contained a message that might spell our doom.
Oh, compared to changing set rules of engagement for the games and getting in, as you said, over your head, this was where you drew the line? I'm having a hard time understanding.
And I wanted to find out who wrote it before I tried to deliver it.
You were trying to do the right thing.
I'm not sure that all of you agree with that. And she starts pulling back. She doesn't even, by the way, unless you read the note aloud, she does not know what's written on it. Or at least she seemingly doesn't.
Oh, no, I did not read it aloud, but I would show it to my fang mates.
Yeah.
So she doesn't know, and she also did not ask what was written in it.
Yep.
Leanne, you told us that you were, you didn't want to deceive anybody, or you didn't want to out anybody. Are you afraid for yourself? Do you need our help?
She looks at Gale, and then she looks back at you. I don't need your help. Fear isn't the sort of thing that people here deserve to contend with.
And yet it sneaks up on us all sometimes.
You're welcome to feel fear if you need to. I know what I'm doing.
I know you do. Consider it an open invitation. You can trust us. We're in this together. We want to get to the bottom of it just as much as Brevin, just as much as Kenton, just as much as everyone.
Can I go now?
Any more pointed questions, Gale?
Oh, I have plenty, but I'll keep them to myself.
Sintel shoots Pyres a look.
Oh. Uh-oh.
And then Leanne just straightens herself out. And she starts taking a path out of the clearing to make it clear that she's not just immediately coming back in, but she just curves around so that it's not obvious that she went in with all of you and then is coming back alone. Or with you. So.
Came out with none of us.
She killed all of us.
Yeah, 5 corpses, exactly.
Nice.
Thanks.
Mysterious, unidentified person tells us not to trust someone. I mean, even if this is true, sounds like a task for the quartermaster. Treason has occurred. Students need to be expelled. We should expel the entire fangs that are associated. That's how we do things here at the House of Bells. There's discussion about whether or not that should actually be what happens based on whatever mystery it is that exists.
But if she is the one who decided which one of us was going to be, well, which one of you were going to be expelled, does that also not mean that she's the one who picked the three of you to not be expelled?
She had the opportunity to hurt me, try to convince me of things. Use mysterious evil magics on me. I don't necessarily trust her, but she had her chance. She didn't use it. I don't trust her.
She's marinating you.
Like a steak?
Yeah. For what?
Maybe she's just trying to make sure that you trust her so that in the future she has an ally.
According to Gale, she already has allies.
What?
Right, Gale? Well, I don't remember his name.
Sepe.
Sepe. Thanks.
She doesn't have allies, she has lackeys.
People that are beholden to her for keeping them from being found out to be expelled anyway. That could have been our fate, and it wasn't.
Have any reason to entirely trust anyone.
Except
I
each
trust-
other.
Except each other.
Yeah, I trust all of you.
Because for better or for worse, we're in this together.
I'd like to read intentions on fires.
On fires? Yeah, sure, go for it. I don't have a lot of
Yeah,
time.
I'd like to read
For better or
intentions
for
on
worse,
fires
by Lynn Johnson.
to see if he has any intimacies towards us.
Creepy, creepy comic.
Yeah, sure.
To be fair, it was a good comic right up until the point where it became wish fulfillment for her children.
I have a guile of 3, Liz.
Oh, bam.
What?
That's 5 successes. Pyres.
Woo!
Cough it up.
So you...
Yeah.
Any intimacies towards us?
Yes, I have intimacies towards individual members of the Lost Hand.
Does that mean you have to give me 2 of them?
No.
Hmm.
No,
what
it
was
does not.
what is your guile?
3.
Okay, so you didn't double it, so no, 1. You get
Okay.
1. But because you did get 2 threshold successes, you can pick which one you get.
Yeah. What do you want to know? I don't have a general... There's no general intimacy towards the Fang. Makes note. Prepares nice,
all right. Intimacies towards Gale whispered. Ladal Gale whispered.
Gale whispered. Pyres has a minor intimacy
Yes.
of tentative friendship.
Aww.
On the sheet.
Admiration, parenthesis, badonkadonk. Close parenthesis.
Oh no.
So you said minor?
Pyres, why are all of your intimacies surrounding badonkadonk?
I like what I like.
Defining intimacy, but donkadonk.
My own.
My own, yes, exactly. So he just like looks right back at you, like eyes wide. What?
The next time that you're going to look critical about one of us in front of a potential enemy, you want to give us some heads up? Was that a play or what?
What?
No, I just
Oh, to
Yeah, to
I see.
Pyres.
Sorry.
no, I just didn't think it was too appropriate. I understand why Gale was suspicious of Leanne, but she's done nothing but help us so far.
I believe very much the opposite.
Well, then I believe they're very much the opposite.
I
of that.
also believe that we would do well to not overly associate with her, because at best, she's an enemy who knows full well what she's doing. At worst, she's stupid and she's in over her head. Either way, she's bad news.
So you don't think she's a well-intentioned member of the House of Bells who also wants to get to the bottom of this mystery and is going to use her abilities to do so.
If somebody was well-intentioned, they would have gone to the Commandant with what they know.
But that is with the assumption that the games are bad for us. So far, we've won.
So
Well-
far, we've won. Other fangs have been disbanded that have been together for years, and there is some kind of coup or revolution being planned amongst the student body.
Going to the Commandant would be trusting that the Commandant wasn't compromised. We can't distrust someone just because they haven't done that. And also, the fact that you had such ease speaking to her is out of the ordinary.
I will say this. I have yet to encounter anyone who, and Pyres lowers his voice, just in case, who truly reveres and respects Game Master Vieren and his vision for these games. Members of the staff, members of the faculty, students. No one.
So
that
why
I've
is
yet
he
encountered.
here?
What was that, Arista?
So why is he here? How did this new position come into being? Why is he here? Why is he allowed to do things that everyone else clearly hates?
If he's working for somebody with a status above even the Commandant.
There's been implications from Juin that she was just following orders. Whose orders? Who runs the people who run the House of Bells? Our parents. Collectively, of course. Our families all contribute in some way, shape, or form, largely financially, but I'm sure there's other influence and favors.
Now, technically, there is no tuition to attend the House of Bells.
Technically, of course.
Don't be naive. Everybody gets here because they've got a little bit of charity.
There's always something. There's always an angle. Not everyone is accepted, and it isn't always purely academic.
Maybe it's just the way I see things, but it seems like a really long play to create a situation that would undermine the House of Bells just for the sole purpose of making sure that there were less trustworthy soldiers in the future?
Unless it
Leaders?
was somebody working for an enemy.
I don't know what the play is, and I'm not trying to suggest that I do. All I know is that
We need more information.
strings are being pulled by people who are being pulled by strings. There are so many layers to this. I wish it was a cake. I'm hungry. We aren't supposed to be back on campus. What are we going to do about food? Sorry.
Hmm?
I would like to speak to Vieren. No offense intended, but I think the two of you made enemies of him today. I would like to try to make an appointment with him to discuss the finer points of Gateway.
And-
Perhaps he is a fan of Gateway, as he so cleverly integrated it into one of his games. I would like to speak to him about the intricacies of this decision.
And you think Kathak Viren is a fan of Gateway?
I think he's a fan of fans.
Okay. Yeah. That's true.
I can be enthusiastically interested in his games.
Show me your enthusiasm.
I love your games. She's not smiling.
Yeah,
Damn it,
no,
Liz.
Sorry.
And if
Okay.
his response is just to laugh and say, "Pfft, who cares about Gateway? That was obviously just a distraction."
Then I'll bring that report to Commandant Nuven and hopefully
Okay.
get some information from her.
That's when I draw a soaring eye and I lop his head off.
And I throw a sewing eye behind me. Needle
Your
point,
backup weapon.
bitch. Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
All right.
That is
Then
an
we know
idea.
what we have to do. Perhaps it would be wise for us to not remain here. Find food for...
I'm fine.
I didn't get a chance to eat breakfast.
Okay, let's find food.
Also,
Need any backup where you're going? Oh, that's right. He's
we
not
could
gonna like
sleep.
me.
I thought
We
I would
could
write
do-
him a flowery note.
Wait, aren't the
Oh.
barracks off limits?
Yes.
I guess we could camp.
Did he? Okay, this is me out of game. I'm trying to remember what he said. He said we couldn't go to the barracks and classes were canceled, but then Juwin went back on what he said, right?
Like it was a day of study, self-study, yeah.
Yeah, it's still a day of self-study. No one is expected to go to class, but Juin basically said you're not allowed to tell people they can't go to the barracks.
Huh, okay.
Perf.
Cool. Yeah. Rest. Rest is advised. Rest and food.
I'll get you food.
I'm fine. I get
I mean, as long as I'm getting food for myself, I could get food for you too. Okay, hold on. Lousy smarch weather.
Ah, yes. Smart.
Oh yeah,
30 seconds.
I have here. Viren gets pissed and sends everyone back to the barracks. Juwin counters his order and tells everyone to take a day of self-study.
Okay, well.
That's what my notes.
Yeah,
it's why I
I
can't go to
don't
the-
believe that it was my intention to have Juin say you can't go back to the barracks. It was more like you don't have to do what he says you have to do.
Mhm. That makes
Okay.
sense to me.
Look, what you intended is what wins.
ding ding
Bosh.
ding.
Yeah, and if I can't lie down in my bunk, I'm going to be very angry. No,
I'm gonna have to find someone else's bunk to lie down in.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome to come along, you know. Perhaps he would enjoy contrition.
Would he, do you think?
Maybe.
To be able to put on a show a little bit.
Yes.
A show of dressing someone down.
You are very good at
Being dressed down.
showing.
You can even say that you're concerned by what I said. How could one of House Cathak be so rude to another member of House Cathak? You're so worried about Aresta. Oh no, Aresta's concerning you, or
He was pretty rude too, though.
I did kind of tack on, yeah, in the hopes of impressing everybody.
Everybody.
Well, in the hopes of, letting the student body know that we were all on the same side, the side of truth.
That's what you
Right?
get for sharing a house with somebody who's creepy.
I feel like I should
Are you
defend
calling
him,
me
but I'm not
creepy?
going to.
I wink.
Wink.
I think you might have difficulty creeping.
I should work on that.
Today is self-study. Pyrus kind of like leans back against a tree.
Crack. Twig.
Crunch. Damn it.
The leaves around Siontel's feet just start to circle in a gentle eddy.
Mm.
You're in my world right now. Go and grovel at Vieren's feet. At the very least, you have Gale with you. She'll keep you out of trouble.
Mel. She seems to be good at that, actually. Keeping me out of trouble.
But it might be worth it for all of us to do that.
Together?
Grovel?
You might have talked back to him, but at the same time, I mean, what do we have to gain by having him hate you? If he's that vain, if he's as vain as we think he is,
All right. Team Grovel. Let's go. Food first.
Food first.
Food first.
food is easily acquired. There's always food.
What do we eat?
Pork buns. Nom, 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 nom.
Yay!
Dumplings. Nom, 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 nom.
A well-spiced stir fry
Mm-mm.
Ooh.
and mead.
Cheese.
Mead. Mm. John,
Yes.
quick cue. Before we kind of as we're at the mess hall, is I imagine it would be relatively usual for us to be writing to our houses, like to our families, like, not that this is a sleepaway camp and we're like, I miss you so much, but like presumably we write to them.
You could.
You could.
It's also potentially expected that you're so busy that you wouldn't have the time.
It's a good point. It's a lot of days of self-study these days.
Yes.
Okay. I guess I was curious whether the strange circumstances here at the House of Bells would have yet to have been reported. Not by us, but perhaps by somebody else.
Maybe, but you don't see what other people are writing home to their families.
That's true. Okay. Well, thank you.
Unless, you want to shake down some first years. Show me your letters to
Talking to your
mommy.
Now give me your lunch money. Oh no, pyres. I would never.
Oh, pyres.
Okay. I'm tucking that away for now.
All right.
Time to go and find him.
Yeah.
Huh. Time to try. Let's see if he's sticking around.
Yes,
we'll
we'll head to his office first.
Yeah.
Let's go head to his office first. I know he keeps a cottage here
Yeah,
as well. Is that a
cottage.
term?
You've
Yeah.
been to the cottage. You've been inside his cottage.
Oh, that's where we're headed. Okay, we're headed to his cottage.
Because the
I thought
cottage
he
is
had an
also his office, right? Like,
Okay.
it's
Yes.
kind of a dual,
Okay. Dual purpose. Got it.
a work and live sort of situation.
Work from home.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Crazy talk.
Yeah, I know, right?
When you get to just outside the cottage, I would like all of you to roll me your perception alertness, please.
Awareness?
Yeah, that.
the
Whatever
one.
it's. Yeah, it's awareness. Here, fuck.
How dare
a
we
word.
play multiple World of Darkness / whatever expanded universe games.
Your difficulty is 3.
3. Go team.
Threes.
Team Grovelin Threes.
You hear a heated conversation from inside.
I would like to use my deep listening palm and listen through the walls of his cottage.
You hear the distinct voices of Vieren and Bracken.
I like look at.
So Bracken is the librarian,
Yeah.
just to remind people. Don't bother telling me. I know exactly what I'm doing, and you know that I know exactly what I'm doing. There's no need for you to interfere, nor anybody. It isn't as simple as that. You're going to lose a lot of trust. I'm not certain that that's something that we can afford to have right now. Trust isn't important. You already know that we have someone that we're trying to find. It isn't wise for you to destroy the House of Bells in an effort to save it. I think that you're underestimating just how strong this institution is. As long as we don't lose our nerve, everything's going to be fine. I don't wish to be a part of this. I don't believe that it is correct for us to decide. They're young. It isn't up to them to root out. What? You don't believe in them? I don't believe pawns have any right to be players. Now, if you'll excuse me. So she's now stepping towards the door. So you can choose to be there, hide around back, do that whole when she opens the door and you're listening.
Well, I'd like to take a couple steps back and then make as if I'm walking forward towards the
I do not want to be inside of the door.
Okay.
If she's on her way out, so I'm gonna run around behind the building.
Pyres? Technically, she's the only one who could hear, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just know that there are heated voices.
I
Can
would've
I,
been
can
like,
I at least recognize the voice just and not what she's saying?
You could tell that it was one female, one male voice.
I would have whispered Bracken and like specifically probably just to Gale when as soon as I heard her.
Then.
Okay, so you're out. Pyres?
I'm gonna just put my foot up on the wall and just like lean casually, as if I was having a smoke, but I'm not.
You're
Putting your
stretching.
foot up on the wall?
Yeah, you're, like
just getting
stretching
some
your legs.
isometric exercise in?
No, sorry, leaning back against the wall, foot
Oh,
up on the,
one little leg.
you know what I mean? As opposed to one of these, like a foot behind
Oh.
my back. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't really go as planned. I'm leaning.
Flavienne seems to have no trouble standing next to the two of you, but Siantel ducks around with Gale whispered. And as Bracken opens the door, cadets?
I snap up to attention.
Good afternoon.
What are you doing here?
We're coming to speak to Veer, and I didn't realize that he already had a guest.
It's a day of self-study, and we felt like we needed to study with the Games Master.
It is apologize for our outburst.
She narrows her eyes at that, just like, apologize? So soon? What? And then just shakes her head. Never mind. And then leaves.
Okay. I'm gonna like look to Aresta and just like mouth a 6 or 7 second countdown. 4, 3, and then I'll go around to the door and knock
I'll
Gale?
come back around at
if
this.
people are ready.
You come back around once Bracken is out of the picture?
Yeah.
I'm gonna like catch your hand before you knock, just so that I can catch everyone up on the conversation in very quiet tones of
Thank you.
Viren implies that it's a we, Bracken doesn't want to be a part of it, etc. Recount.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Gale's eyes widen at the idea that her mentor is working with Viren.
Mm. And specifically that they're like trying to save the House of Bells and that they have to find someone. Those are the takeaways for me, certainly.
But also that she called potentially the students pawns.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, that's a personal opinion. That wasn't a game.
It's cold.
I mean,
Yeah.
Stone cold.
She probably would have used the gateway equivalent.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're going to call pawns pieces in gateway.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pawns and players. It's all
yeah.
translation from High Realm.
Do
Yeah.
you knock on the door?
Once I've caught them up, yeah.
Cool.
The door opens up and Viren's frame fills the doorway. And he glowers down at you. Well, not down at Aresta. He glowers at Aresta.
And down to most of the rest of us.
What?
A day of self-study, Games Master Viren. We've come to apologize.
Seek your counsel.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what you're apologizing for.
Aresta and I both spoke out against you earlier today, or against your words. We should have shown more deference to our superiors.
You realize that on the battlefield that would have been a court-martial offense.
We're here for the court martial.
You wish to die.
Juin already administered punishment, but if you wish to administer additional punishment, I will accept it. I didn't realize court martials always ended in death, sir.
Get inside.
Yeah, we'll
I'm going in.
step in.
But then he looks down at Gale and Flavienne and Siantel. And what are you doing here?
I am not here to apologize, sir.
I thought that it was that you were responsible for the actions of your fang mates.
Not at all. I was struck by your ingenious use of the game gateway in today's game.
Oh.
I admit it was impossible for me to stay away without knowing what your thought process was.
Somebody who speaks some sense. Come in.
She digs her nails into her hand and goes.
As the five of you enter, he closes the door. Do you think that I'm an idiot?
No.
Do you
Sir?
believe that for some reason I'm throwing away tradition here at the House of Bells on a whim?
No.
Such a games of this magnitude certainly couldn't be a whim, sir.
Then explain to me why you do not trust me.
I was being impertinent, but I was also speaking the truth that I do not understand the lesson.
And while I understand that on the battlefield, soldiers follow orders regardless of their reasoning, I think we at the House of Bells typically understand all of the lessons that we are taught, sir. We understand the reason for them, and it feels to the student body as if perhaps these games are undermining trust in the fang, in the structure that makes up the armies of the realm, the legions.
I consider myself an exceptional judge of character. Why do you think I'm destabilizing the fangs here?
Because the world out there is destabilized?
It's an interesting first move. I'll give you partial credit.
You can see how from an ignorant outside perspective it would look malicious, sir. Not that we believe that, of course, but you can see how it might appear.
Cadet Siontel, go and retrieve the weapons that formerly belonged to Cathak Pyres.
I cannot permit that, sir.
Why not?
I have been ordered to keep them from him by Joanne.
I will not return them to him.
I still cannot permit that, sir. They have been placed in my custody.
Then you can go and get them and bring them back here. Believe me, you'll get them back when you leave.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's a short trot.
Yeah.
Now that she's gone, what a beep.
Okay, guys, places for the surprise party.
You arrived here in your 5th year. He's gonna wait. In fact, he waits and he arranges for somebody to bring tea for everybody while you come back.
Yeah.
Just so that you don't have to, spend time away from the conversation. When you arrived here for your 5th year, you found that your fangs had already been disbanded. And that the 3 of you were still here, pushed together. And yet, you have faced 2 games so far. Games that you were at a disadvantage going in, and yet you came out victorious. Meanwhile, other fangs that should have been able to stand up against an already weakened, inexperienced fang, lost. Why do you think that is?
You're an exceptional judge of character, sir.
We were outside of our comfort zone and forced to think differently.
I think Gale Whispered is starting to get an idea of what I'm driving at.
I would not presume, sir.
Don't sell yourself short. I've heard that you're quite the player.
Only if I fully understand the rules, sir.
I needed to prove that the three of you were innocent. I needed to prove that there was a reason you were kept behind.
And having us win game was going to prove that? Or were we supposed to lose?
There have been traitors here. They're not all gone. Specifically, they're hiding one.
They, sir?
I have reason to believe that the House of Bells has been infiltrated for quite some time.
John, I'd like to read intentions on Viren, intimacies towards the House of Bells. In order to do that, I'm going to lean forward and look up into his eyes with like big shiny eyes and
Big
channel
Shiny Tunes, Volume 6.
Dough-shaped
my
eyes?
big shiny tunes. Yeah, they're dough shaped exactly. It's a little like anime tears floating in them. I'm gonna channel my own sort of like feelings about the House of Bells, and I'm just gonna ask him, or I'm just gonna say, "Oh no, here."
You know what? I'm going to give you 2 dice and a success and a willpower for that.
Ooh.
That's the best read intentions that we've had this game so
Oh,
far.
thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Can I? Somebody remind me, please. Can I take a temporary willpower over my limit with a 2-point stunt? I can't remember.
With a 3-point stunt,
With
you
a-
can.
That sounds
I
right.
believe
yeah.
you can with a 2-point stunt, but I don't
Okay.
remember right off the top of my head.
I'll
I will check.
thank
Yeah.
you, but I'll hold off
I
on it
believe
for
so.
now.
I think for
Ooh,
any stunt, but yeah.
buddy. Where the Here. Oh no! Oh, Pyres, you beautiful bastard. Hey, ho.
He was beautiful, and he was a bastard.
What?
Okay, 2-point. I was correct. 2-point is up to a maximum of your permanent willpower.
'Kay.
3 points can exceed your willpower rating.
Cool. Provide you a temp one. That's cool. I got 4 successes.
All right, are you ready?
Oh god. Yeah.
Viren has a major intimacy towards the House of Bells. If there is rot in the finest learning institution in the realm, I will see it gone.
Nice.
Nah.
Nah.
Yikes.
Is it?
Isn't it?
Maybe it's better. This. If. I like the if there.
The fact that you've managed to pull yourselves together, work together properly, means that you are appropriate. You are proper students of the House of Bells. You work as the Dragon-Blooded do. That's not to say that everyone who has fallen before you is guilty. But when things are destabilized, you start finding the ones who are taking advantage of the chaos. I trust you, Aresta. Pyres, and those who you have deemed appropriate of your trust as well. But we need to find out where here, in this state of learning, someone does not have the interests of the realm at heart. They will be discovered. They will find themselves paying for choosing to take advantage of a moment of weakness. Because we will be watching.
If I may say, Games Master, and please don't think that I'm trying to butter you up, whatever the term is for that. Please don't think that I'm trying to make you feel better about yourself, but this plan is incredible. Sow discord where some already exists, and those people who plan to take advantage of it will do so. But under your watchful eye, they'll be discovered.
You to speak of this to no one.
Of course. No one in particular, sir?
Until I let you know, this time this mission is secret. Your 5th years. You should be able to be trusted with these sorts of things.
In fact, sir, if there's any way that we can be of assistance, I imagine you do not need our help, but we are offering all the same. The Fang of the Lost Hand is at your disposal.
If you were to see that there's another Fang that has earned your suspicion, let me know.
Gale nods.
I appreciate the way that you are starting to think outside of the realm of the rigid learnings that you've had here. To know that there is more than one way to win a battle. To know that sometimes it isn't merely about earning the victory that everyone expects, but earning the victory that is expected of you. Don't think that hasn't been noticed.
I would say the Fang of the Lost Hand is willing to do whatever it takes to win. I believe that.
You run a tight ship, Commander.
I have a good crew.
May I see those weapons now?
I'd like to look at Pyres.
I would like to nod without nodding.
Okay. That.
I'd like to let Aresta know that the answer is yes,
Okay.
but I don't want him to see that I'm giving her orders.
Hmm.
I don't know how to do that, but
He takes it and then he pulls just for a moment so that he can see the sort of reflection of the blades. Who was the one who took this weapon? Who assigned it to you?
Quartermaster Juin. We were caught disobeying rules on multiple occasions.
that's the royal we, sir. I was caught disobeying rules.
For a good reason?
Yeah, the truth.
Nevertheless, when a student draws upon a staff member,
That was
Why
the other
would you
part of
draw upon Quartermaster Juin?
Quartermaster Juin lashed out at me from a position of power. I felt that it was not deserved, and I felt that very strongly.
Perhaps she is worthy of extra investigation. Everyone, I appreciate you coming here. It is correct sometimes to question. Blindly following orders is how we got to this place. It is time that the real leaders stand up so that we can find our way out and into the light. No more should the House of Bells be shrouded in darkness. Good luck.
Thank you, sir. House Cathak and the House of Bells are both incredibly privileged to have you here.
Knowing what I know of you and your family, that's high praise. Keep an eye on him.
Always have.
We need him at his best. We need all of you at your best. Dismissed. Except for Gale Whispered, I will have a word with you.
I will wait just outside.
Yeah.
Is it still the same?
You can use it, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
How upsetting.
You play Gateway. You care about the game.
Yes. I am very good at it.
Sorry.
Did you expect the outcome of today's game?
No. I
You
believe
thought
it was
that this would be an exercise in strategy.
well, you do not need physical combat when there is a gateway board ahead of you. You can find who is the better commander and strategist without even lifting a blade. Which is why I thought it was so ingenious. It's a way of turning the mirror on those who are foolhardy in battle. Those who do not think. Those who flip the table are inferior soldiers.
One thing that I do know, whoever is here, whoever is pulling us down from within, must be a master strategist. Keep an eye on anyone who is excellent at Gateway.
Sir, are you excellent at gateway?
Modesty would imply that I am not. Perhaps one day we'll find out.
I would very much like that, sir. I feel I could learn a lot from you.
We'll see. Dismissed, cadet.
Sir.
Walk back to our barracks.
As you're walking back, a mob of students still in the quad have now started to become increasingly organized. Marching in step are all 15 of the members of Fangs that have been disbanded. And they are surrounded by those looking on. Brevin is at the
13?
head.
Sorry.
Yeah, 13, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Just-
2 of them you poached.
We did.
Brevin is at the head. He stops and he looks at you. I don't know what you're trying to prove. I have no idea what you're trying to do, consulting with the games master. But I knew all along that you were somehow responsible for this attack on our way of life. You do not want to find out, but you will, what it's like to cross somebody who has lost their sisters and brothers in arms.
You say that as if we don't know that same pain, Brevin.
Traitors deserve what they get. The only reason that you're still alive is that I have to assume that the school isn't stupid enough to keep some traitors behind.
Just to be extra clear, Brevin, you want to accuse us of treason and threaten our lives in front of the student body. Should I get that in writing too, or
I'm not accusing you of treason. I'm accusing you of collaborating with somebody who is stupid enough that he thinks that his glory is more important than this school. But then again,
We're collaborating with you, Brevin.
oh shit.
Kate! Kate, what have you done?
Run!
Yeet!
He takes another step forward and he walks right up to Aresta, looking up. Pretty words. I'm going to enjoy finding out exactly what you're up to. I'm going to enjoy crushing you.
Go for it. Ask me anything. Crush me right here. I won't resist.
AMA!
I was
AMA! I am Aresta, if you're at the House of Bells. Ask me anything.
Somebody upvote this shit.
Give me them up, dudes.
That's all right. You got here based on your ability. Out of everyone in your fang, you're the one who I think I can trust the most.
So you aren't going to... What?
But if you're the commander, you should know you have idiots and you have quislings among you.
I won't let you speak about my fang like that, Brevin.
Lockstep, and then you hear 12 pairs of feet clap together. Even the fang of the golden thread.
Shit.
I'm through with the school telling me who gets to be in my fang and who doesn't.
So you get to have the biggest fang of all.
If they're going to start taking our armies away from us, I'm going to start taking them back.
So you're taking on the entire House of Bells with 13 fifth years.
I'm doing what I have to save this school.
And you think we're traitors?
I think you're idiots. I think you're the king idiot.
Brevin, please don't self-destruct, and please, if you insist on doing so, don't take everyone down with you.
Sometimes you just need a leader. They're not worth it.
Brevin,
Aresta.
you're playing a very dangerous game.
It's the difference between you and me. I know this isn't a game. And he turns, and they as one turn, and they start heading off towards the library.
My library.
13 versus 1 was excellent odds, Brevin.
Should have taken your when you had the chance.
That is going to be a problem. I don't understand how he was able to... There's 6th years in there, and they're following him.
Right.
All he's done is painted a massive target on his back. And he
He's-
really thinks that he's improving the caliber of those graduating by making sure that every single graduating student in our year and above are beholden to him and answer only to him. Really wise there, Brevin.
When you have a magnetic personality,
He's
You tend
preying
to attract
upon
people.
their despair.
So you smash the magnet and you smash the army.
yes. And in that way, he does have a large target on his back. However, I will say, it's not a bad move, inviting us essentially to go and report him to Juin, to Commandant Nuven.
They
We
aren't
don't need to do
exactly
that.
being subtle.
Well, that's what I mean. But someone will have to report it as a
No,
travesty, as an outrage.
Juin's everywhere. If she doesn't find it, then clearly
I'm what?
Oh!
Stepping around from behind one of the barracks, Juin walks forward, holding her future sting in one hand.
Oh, right.
As I said, you are everywhere.
Interesting. Like
I hurt too.
You would be good to remember that, Commander.
Hence, no one having to report events to you.
If he wants to play soldier, let him.
Quartermaster, you feel that it's all right for a student to command more than a fang here at the House of Bells?
She waits and she looks at Aresta as if she's not even willing to entertain listening to Pyres right now.
Okay, he's gonna keep his cool. He's not happy about it.
Brevin seems to be set on a path of self-destruction and gathering as many people he can to bring down with him.
I don't see destruction. They will be assigned additional fangs. But I can't prevent students from coordinating with each other.
Noted.
As you were, cadets. She just melts back into the hedge.
Amazing.
Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
You stood up to Brevin. You stood up to 13 of them. You realize that he doesn't really hate you.
No, but if he wants to punch someone, he can punch me. If he wants to, if he's in such a state that he needs to take his rage out on someone or something, that can be me. I would hope that the other 12 would at some point, hopefully before I died, realize that maybe they should do something better with their efforts.
We wouldn't let you die, Aresta, for what it's
I
what
doubt
it's
I
worth.
would.
They're not going to go after her.
I'm not worth the effort.
It's not about effort. We're the ones who betrayed him.
He betrayed
We're not going
you.
to let anything happen to you.
I understand that you have brought us in. You have shown us great kindness and trust. We will repay it, of course.
This isn't about debt.
Everything's about debt. But some debts are more fun than others. Hey, look. I feel like we've got a win here. Viren doesn't hate us anymore. We got some more information out of it. We know more than we did going in.
Yeah, I'd chalk up a win here too. And then immediately erase that win because we now have 13 Princes of the Earth possibly ready to be aligned against us.
Don't worry
in combat.
about them. They're idiots. I mean, I thought for sure that some of them were smart enough to not just immediately latch onto the first charismatic guy who
Pyres, are you actually worried about them?
It's like you said, Aresta. I'm more worried that when he inevitably explodes, he's going to take us all down with him. The whole school.
You think Brevin's set to explode? And I want to, like, see whether Pyres reacts at all to when I say the word Brevin. So this is my reading intentions.
Oh, I like that stunt.
Yep.
Get that shit in there. What's your
Me too.
What's your guile?
Yay!
My guile is 3.
Drop
I'm
it.
so happy that you're just.
I am not
turning
gonna drop
your
it.
Drop it to
intentions
0.
against each other.
Are you gonna raise it?
No, I would like to. I'm just going to describe the fact that I think Pyres knows what Aresta's trying to find out, and he's gonna like.
He's gonna repeat "think not sexy thoughts" in his head like over and over again.
It's sexy Flanders.
Yeah.
He's gonna bite his lip a little bit, you know.
Oh, yeah.
My
Stunt?
guile is. Oh,
Yeah. I mentioned stunts.
Yep.
My guile is 3.
Great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Whoop.
So I didn't double, so just the 1. You pick?
Yes, I have. Okay. Yeah, so I have. I have intimacies towards Brevin,
Mm-hmm.
and based on that statement, I have a minor intimacy of desire towards Brevin.
I'm gonna write that down as though I discovered it too.
You don't get to chalk it up as a win, you little.
You smarmy
You
bastard.
smart.
Hey Liz,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Pyres flushes a little bit. I just think he's just being a. I just think he's being a big idiot. You know, he's going around calling us stupid, but he's the guy who, like you said, Gale, right? He's paying a target on his back. He thinks that there are traitors here, and he's announcing himself loud and proud. Pyres is basically shouting as well.
Yes, he certainly is announcing himself loud and proud. What an idiot. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You have a way of when you speak, I feel like I should be listening. Just otherwise, I'd talk over you all the time.
Oh, thank you.
Not on purpose. Sorry.
That's okay.
Because Brevin is being clearly foolish and brazen and public, I don't think he's in too much danger. He'll get swatted when it's appropriate. Swatted down, not like contemporary swat.
Right. I want to tell the sharper minds in the Fang as well, I think.
So who are you excluding from?
Me. I'm excluding myself.
Okay, gotcha.
Fuck. Like, yeah, I just look
I
at
was like you
Siontel.
turn, you go like this.
Sorry. I just want to suggest as well that he might be very useful as a distraction. I know a thing or two about distractions.
I mean, there are certainly going to be a number of interested parties who might paint him as the traitor. He's amassing an army of his own. He is fighting back against the games, which is meant to root out people who he's taking advantage of the chaos, you might say. So,
Well,
I
we
mean, we
can't-
could just watch what happens.
I don't think we can let them think that. That wouldn't be fair to him. He's just trying to lead.
It's not letting them think anything if we don't know. We're not sure for a fact that he's not.
The drums are beating.
I'm sorry?
The drums are beating. Look, one of the lessons that we've learned is when you are met with a guerrilla force, you have to stamp it out entirely. If you leave a contingent, they will reform. They will sow dissent. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what happens when the drums don't stop beating? What happens when you start accusing everybody of being against you? Innocents start to fall at the same time. What if all the traitors were already found? What if all of this destabilization is to find somebody who either has already been caught or never existed?
This is certainly a possibility we cannot discount. It's another one of the possible solutions in my brain right now.
Are you suggesting that Game Master Viren might know that then? Or that it's simply that he's paranoid, looking for
I don't know
anything?
which one's true, but I also know that both are scary. If he knows this and yet is continuing to destabilize things, that means that he has an agenda that he's hidden from us. Or if he doesn't know this, then he's not going to stop until he finds his traitor. And if there's no traitor to be found, that means he's not going to stop, and the drums will beat forever. Until there's no one left to speak them.
We're taught...
Rain your bits on me, Bit Daddy.
Oh my. We're
What?
taught to name our enemies as clearly as possible so that this situation doesn't manifest itself.
But
We
we
stamp
trust
out-
each other, and that's a good start.
I agree.
No traitor. Yes, traitor. No traitor, as you described. Yes, traitor. Dozens and dozens of possibilities of who, what, when, where, why, and how.
I also think that this is a good opportunity for the group of us. If there is anything else that we've been keeping from each other, now is the time to say it.
I want to point towards our barracks and look pointedly at the bush that Yuan disappeared into.
Yep.
Hello.
Hello.
Bush coughs.
Shakes a little bit. Yeah, so we'll head back to our barracks, I suppose, then, if we're gonna be...
Or the
if
bell
we're-
tower, as
Someone cast Cone of Silence.
a bird chirps and makes me think of the bell tower. As an option.
Hmm.
You mean
Yeah,
you're
we
going...
can-
Now, did you mean cast Cone of Silence like the D&D spell? Or did you mean the Cone of Silence, the Get Smart gag? Oh, you don't know Get Smart.
I know the movie that came out, I don't know, whatever, a decade ago now.
I've seen it, but I don't remember the Cone of... you mean...
The Cone of Silence was this contraption where they would sit on opposite ends and they'd lower a cone over the top. It was meant so that they could have a conversation without being overheard, but it
Okay.
never worked properly.
I think I've seen it referenced in other things that's like the cone, the Cone of Silence, and then I was
Yeah.
but I'm referring specifically to I guess the spell.
Hmm.
Me too,
Burp.
Cassie Mouse. I used to watch Get Smart
Burp.
before going off to soccer practice, because that's how
Ooh.
cool I was with my
Soccer.
little high
I should've
socks
brought the
that I
wine.
pulled up over
I
my
should've brought my
knees.
I can go.
Did you feel smart?
Did it make you get smart?
I mean, it made me appreciate the acting chops of...
Oh.
Anyway.
Wow.
All right. we head somewhere. And
The bell tower is a good idea. I nod vigorously.
great.
So it's time for us to start divulging all of our secrets. Okay, cool. Yeah, bell tower. I'm getting another keg. And she heads off towards the...
I'll wait at the bottom of the stairs.
Just so that we all know, and I kind of take Flavienne into that all, because she's still here.
Yeah, she's still there.
Yeah. Only, I think it's a good idea. We need to be able to trust each other and that we make sure that we don't have secrets from one another. But there are some things that I think need to be sacrosanct.
Like what?
Not speaking for myself, but if there are parts of one's past... Fuck!
I understand.
Pyres is like, fuck shit!
Pyres, I believe I understand what you're saying, but it's not you have to earn my trust by telling me all of your secrets. It's I need to know what could be used as leverage against all of us, so that we can make contingency plans and ensure that that does not happen. This is not my attempt at learning every dark secret and skeleton in your life story. It's important for us to be able to plan for every eventuality, and learning things that people might be able to hold against you is a part of that. Treat it as data collection, if you will.
It seems like a prelude towards us becoming closer. To work more effectively as a unit.
I hope she gets a bottle to go with the cask. And play spin the bottle, tell the secret instead of the kiss and spin the bottle.
No, Aresta, yeah. No, I know what you mean. I mean,
You
that's
want to
not...
play the kissing, spin the bottle?
You don't?
Well, that's what we usually use it for. Yeah.
So she comes in, she's rolling one of the barrels with it.
It's so impressive. I take a hashtag half a second for sure.
I would.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Are you genuinely intending to spin a bottle?
Is Pyres going to push this?
Well, no, I'm going to push it, but we are going to have to determine some way
Excellent.
of sort of
Pick up a
saying
D10. Scott.
Yes?
1, 2. So,
Okay.
no, you know what? We'll make it easy for the audience. Aresta, 1, 2. Scott, or sorry, Pyres, 3, 4. Gale Whispered, 5, 6. Flavienne, 7, 8. Ciantel, 9, 10. Whoever's spinning the bottle first will have to roll. Assuming, of course, you're not trying to rig it.
Oh, no.
If you do try to rig it, let me know, and we'll see. We can play that out.
He spins it back to himself again. Oh, man, I'll have to tell you something else. I'm just kidding. Well, I want to pour drinks for everybody first. If people are having.
This is gonna feel kind of sacred after a little while, so you know, if you need to cry, go ahead and cry.
Thanks.
But go ahead.
By the way, before we begin, I just want to point out a sort of poetry to all of this. I don't read a lot of poetry, but there's an army of sorts downstairs plotting revenge, and we, the ones who should be scared, are instead using this opportunity to become closer. It's nice.
Instead of feeling fear, we're instead trying to trust each other.
And we are not seeking to get revenge on them or to turn them in out of spite. Anyway.
We're not falling into their gambit.
We need to get stronger in order to weather the oncoming storm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pyres.
Just like Juin wants us to. And I'll spin the bottle. I rolled a 3. No joke. Absolutely no joke. It comes back around. You saw that, Rolanda?
I sure did.
Okay.
I sure did.
Not rolling again. Fuck. So just stops on pyres. Things that can be used as leverage. That's what we're doing, right? Honestly, my life's pretty much an open book. I'll tell you all the things that I don't normally tell people. I love House Cathak. That is something I usually tell people. But Liz.
Gail takes out her typewriter.
Clack, 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 clack. Ding. But if I could spend time studying one other house, their way of approaching creation, their way of approaching politics and the art of war, I could find myself indebted to House Sinus, and I look to see Ontel with that. It's true.
I don't mean to laugh. I just... Really?
Yeah, I'm more than a little intrigued. Pyres kind of like flushes again, you know? He does that a lot. I think you all know the other things about me that are exploitable. My sister is, well, she was one of the best students they've ever seen here, definitely one of the most promising, and she's living up to that promise. And I think that's about it, really.
That
Put
and
my
you have
head
the
up.
hots for Brevin.
Oh,
Brevin and I are,
he's a weak point for you.
I don't know if it's a weak point.
I would like nothing more than for Brevin and I to settle this once and for all.
Settle it like how?
Settle down. Get a cottage somewhere.
Hey,
Grow rutabagas.
I...
Rutabaga.
She doesn't actually say that. I just...
Okay.
Okay. If she did, Pyres would definitely snap back about how delicious root vegetables can be if you prepare them properly. Yeah, sure, fine. Brevin and I have a long history, and I guess I feel pretty strongly about him in general. Yeah, okay, sure. Is that what everybody wanted to know?
We're not here to judge you.
No. This is important to know. Because if somebody were threatening Brevin or Brevin's reputation, you would do what you could to stand by him.
Look, I don't understand. Brevin is compelling.
Right?
So
Um,
I cannot blame you. Don't worry. We're here together.
Thanks. For what it's worth, Gale whispered, if someone was trying to disrupt him as like a leader, I think I'd actually probably celebrate that more than anything. I just would rather it was me that like triumph over him. Like, we have a rivalry, you know?
So you have a rivalry you feel strongly about him, and that is love.
What?
He never
Whoa,
said anything
whoa,
about
Attra-
love.
whoa!
that's a-
Who said love?
that is
What?
an attraction.
Sure, yeah, sure. I'm attracted to Brevin. What's the question? Sorry.
It's just
I
seeking
think we've
clarity.
gone off topic here.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Pyres. I think
Thanks, Aresta.
knowing that he's a potential weak spot for you is good for the rest of the Fang to know to catch you, lest you fall. And I'm gonna spin the bottle. 6. 1, 2,
Gale
It's
was...
me.
5, 6.
Scale whispered.
Two things, I guess. One, Bracken is a mentor of sorts to me. So if she is in league with Viren, or is in some way working against other faculty members or the house at large, that could compromise me. It's distressing to think that she was keeping things from me. But I intend to find out what I can without dropping my cover. Also, my mother and father can probably not be used as leverage. It would probably be pretty ineffective. We're not a very close family.
It just a quick question. Is anybody here close to their parents?
Yeah, I don't think that's
I feel like Aresta is. Your parents gave you books.
My father gave me books.
He gave you a gift of books that he thought you would enjoy.
They didn't expect me to turn out like this, so there was a lot less pressure on us being really good, I know.
Aresta's parents are not exalted. They can't be used as leverage because they're not important enough.
I mean, like, they could threaten them. That would probably make me care. Maybe. But I don't think they're important enough to threaten. I don't think I'm important enough for them to threaten my parents. Anyway, yeah, that. This is your turn.
Yeah, we'll get to you, Aresta.
I'm sorry about Bracken.
Thank you.
Maybe there's a good reason for it.
I am not discounting her as a traitor or an ally at this time. This is just one more possibility added to a seemingly infinite list of possibilities of what could be going on here.
Hang on, you're not counting her as an enemy or as an ally? But
no.
She's mentored you.
She has.
You've grown close.
Yes.
So she's your ally. You feel that way about her, don't you?
I feel that way about her, but logically, I'm not going to let myself do anything stupid.
Feelings are just as much fact as reality is.
What?
Read intentions.
Oh. Nice.
Jesus Christ.
Read intentions, intimacies towards Bracken, just because I'm curious.
Stunt.
Nice.
I'll take it.
Guile's 3.
I'll spend a point of willpower. We really have... Wow, that's a good number of dice. Whoops. Oh, what? Oh, right, okay. Figure that out. Okay, here we go. Guile is 3. I got 5 successes.
Hey! I have 1.
Okay.
Major tie. Sinus Bracken, respect.
Respect, okay.
Major tie.
Major tie.
Major tie.
Badonk-a-dunk. Not appropriate. Never been appropriate.
It's always time for a good badonkadonk.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are we still playing? What's happening? I'm just gonna write that down real quick.
Hey,
look, I can.
For what it's worth, sometimes you find out who your people who really actually did care about you in moments like this. And we'll be there for you if it turns out that she hasn't been there for you. We'll be there. And if she has been there for you, then we'll celebrate that with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess all I wanted to say, and I'm sorry because that kind of came out wrong, but just that if you feel strongly about Bracken, then that's real too.
We trust your assessments.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've had reason to reassess. But once you have, we'll trust whatever that outcome.
Honestly, the way that you think of everything, it's impressive. It is indeed. I remain in awe sometimes about the way that you manage to keep everything straight in your head.
It isn't really
Okay.
all the time. It feels like a pile of papers, and every so often just the right one happens to fall out. But it feels like a mess most of the time. I'm going to spin now.
Does Gail actually say, "I'm going to spin
Yeah.
now"?
Yeah,
She
for
does.
sure. For sure
She does. A 10.
That's the Untel.
Mm-hmm. This is important.
I hate my house.
Oh. Shit.
There's no love lost between me and Sinus. There's parts of them that I absolutely hate, and I think some of the parts that I hate the most is because I recognize that they're a part of me too. I've tried not to make that obvious, but I don't know who would have potentially found out. So, I'm telling you now. I don't know whether I'd receive a whole lot of help from my house if that became known, but at the moment I'm comfortable taking their money. I don't hate the realm. I believe that it's important for us to stay here and get the education that we're supposed to get. But Sinus can go hang. And I needed Brevin.
Me too.
Without a house that I really truly felt was behind me, I looked for somebody who I could trust. That was my fang. And then when we first disbanded, I was convinced that it didn't matter, that we could just walk right back into Juin's office, that we could fight to stay together, that there was no reason for us to disband. And he just rolled over and accepted the fact that he had been personally wronged. I need to be a part of a group. I don't do well alone. And I'm terrified that that means that it might not look like my devotion to you is genuine. But I see now in a few short days with you what I didn't see in 4 years with them.
I'd like to read intentions to see if she has any intimacies towards the three of us.
Okay.
Okay.
I too would like to take a social action, but I will. I mean,
You're all welcome to read intentions if you wish. But what are you trying to discover, and how are you trying to discover it?
I'm just looking at her.
You don't want to look up with big shiny Toon's eyes. I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
At the House of Bells.
That was way too sweet and wholesome for Gail. It was very strange.
Okay, what are you trying? You're trying to determine whether she has intimacies towards specifically the three of you.
I'll say the four of us, I think, if I may.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
like,
because remember that she was in this fang with Flavienne.
you're right. Okay, I'm going to say the three of us.
Okay, so the
Final
three PCs.
answer.
Separate from the thing of the lost.
All right.
Name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Her guile at the moment is 3.
Oh no, that's 2.
Aw.
Unless I got a stun.
You did.
Yeah.
I was like,
I didn't hear,
You,
I'm
you
sorry.
described what you were doing, so that's a re-roll.
Oh, balls, I apologize. I apologize.
Apologize.
Wow.
Apologize.
That's
a
3
bunch.
successes.
Hey, we did it.
Okay, that means that you can pick one of the three of you.
I choose myself.
I choose me.
Hooray.
She has none.
Siontel has a minor intimacy towards Ladal Gale Whispered. Crush, minor.
Oh.
Gale goes very red all of a sudden, breaks eye contact, and like starts drinking the rest of her drink.
Oh boy.
Sintel's going to take that moment to then spin the bottle, and it will come up.
Fires.
It's every fucking time.
It's going to come up Flavian.
Okay.
I killed someone before arriving here at the House of Bells. Do you stop drinking?
I literally,
Gale spit
I
takes.
actually don't think Pyres can hide his like poker face either. Or
When I
whatever.
said skeletons in the closet.
I
What
killed
happened?
a bully in my primary school. She was deserving. I did it openly. It is known by those who could look into my past. I do not regret it. I would do it again. She did not deserve to live. And the administrators of the school agreed with me.
Would it be a sore point?
I do not make this known. I don't need a reputation as a killer. I'm meant to be a soldier. So I suppose it could be damaging if it were to come out. Or potentially a source of strength, because I'm willing to do what needs to be done. It was an honorable death. I gave her every opportunity to walk away. She challenged me, we dueled. And while the duel itself would not be appropriate among those of our age, the subject matter was. She was stealing from those who could not afford to have things stolen from them.
Despicable.
I can understand that as princes of the earth, we are meant to have the resources that we need in order to exact the realm's will. I understand that the 1,000 correct actions would say that there are times in war where one must gather resources even from those who may not wish to give them up. But to take from someone who has already lost everything. But I also swore that I would not speak her name, and I will not now.
Understand.
But I understand that if this is too much, I will walk.
No.
No hard feelings.
We take you as you are.
Good. Step.
Oh my god, no!
I'm sorry, I
Finally, my
just got
chance.
addicted. I have to kill people.
Once every
Sorry, was that
10
supposed to
years.
hurt?
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Flavian,
She drops the bottle then and spins it, and it comes up Aresta.
No, I want
Even
to
if
see
it doesn't, I like. touch it to stop it or whatever. Yeah, so my parents were anticipated to ascend and never did. So it was a surprise when I did. For all of us.
That is rare.
Skip the generation, haha, funny joke among the family. So there are certainly family members that had their savings cut into or their allowances cut into, and a lot of shuffling happened. But I don't think there are any resentments great enough from that to come back to bite me. I will stand up for what I deem is right. And while I know that the fang is a whole, I will also do my best to shield you all from repercussions when I know I'm not necessarily acting in all of our interests.
It's important to you that what's right happen. She fills up your drink a little bit.
It's also no secret, Aresta. Not that it needs to be. I'm just saying. I think we know that you'll protect us and those people who need protecting.
Besides, we can use this to our advantage, like we did today. Well, you speak out against someone in a position of authority, Pyres acts impulsively, and then we all join together to grovel when, cooler minds prevail. But we end up getting information out of it. I'm just saying, tactically speaking, it's not always the wrong move.
But it might be. And I might make that move when it's not tactically viable.
I don't believe so. I can always spin it to make it tactically viable.
Siantel very carefully just starts, making sure that everybody is taken care of in terms of their drinks. Then she produces some figs, which she also liberated from the...
Some weed?
Some weed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like, drugs.
But she's reading intentions on you, Aresta.
Yeah?
She's wondering whether you have any intimacies that relate to what is right.
Okay.
It's a fair question.
What is your...
My guile is 3.
I roll 5 successes.
Right. I will not suffer a bully. Is
Okay.
what's relevant to this.
Okay. I will
that's
not
a minor.
suffer a bully, and that's a minor?
Minor intimacy.
All right.
It probably should be major. But anyway, for
Do you
now,
wish to bump it up to a major?
I feel like maybe I did on my digital sheet and forgot to.
All right. So it's a minor or
Anyway,
a major. We'll
yeah.
we'll sort it. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, it's a major. I just didn't update it on my paper one. Cool.
Gale t-shirts cover their subjects quite well, but not necessarily in a flashy manner.
And I feel like the writing's like kind of small as well.
No. Oh, Ripley. Oh, God.
It's like gray on gray.
Wow. So shitty.
I guess it's black on black.
Ugh. Black on black.
Yeah.
Aresta looks deep into her cup.
Oh.
And, Pyres, being of the same age, of the same house, of the great destiny, was always someone who I resented.
Oh.
So you said who I resented?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
So somehow, somewhere in, it's probably a frailty for our fang.
Do you feel like that's like changed at all, or
I'm getting to know you better. getting to know more facets of you. But there are flaws that I recognize that are still present. You became the focal point of a broader frustration towards the divide between those who reach their potential and those who are mere mortals.
I can see that. I also can't help that.
Of course not.
I mean, for what it's worth, I think that you are deserving, Aresta, but I think you know that.
You make a good commander. I'm not necessarily saying that this is how it's going to be forever. And at the same time, I do wish to mention that there are ways to make sure that we can rely on each other.
Ways.
There is the possibility of sworn kinship.
There is. I mean, and if our fang gets disbanded again?
Were we to swear an oath of kinship, that would be recognized. It would be difficult for them to keep us apart.
What page is that on?
Oh, if you want to know about sworn kinships, how about I let you know?
Yay!
Here we go. Let's learn about sworn kinships. If you're looking on the PDF, that's on page 104.
Follow along at home, kids.
You should anyway, because they're beautiful books.
Here we go. Central to adventuring and relationships among the Dragon-Blooded stands the Sworn Kinship. It's at the heart of Dragon-Blooded heroism, a completed state that brings the strength of many heroes together into a perfect union, the whole elevated beyond its individual members in the perfected hierarchy. No single elemental dragon sustains creation, but rather the 5 of them acting in harmony, and the essence of their champions reflects this truth. A Sworn Kinship is family above and beyond house and blood. The blood of the dragons and the spiritual fulfillment of the oath transcend other familial connections, placing one's sworn kin as close as one born of the same mother, if not closer. Sworn kin are invited into the innermost sanctums to share repast with their sworn siblings, parents, and children. Hospitality is both expected and demanded, and to throw sworn kin out of one's house is akin to throwing them out of their own. It's for this reason a sworn kinship is also called a hearth. The hearth is warm, a place where familial love and closeness are expected and not discouraged. Hearthmates may fight and disagree, but it's a rare sworn kinship where true acrimony exists without affection. The hearth is often named for the place it was sworn, such as the Hearth of Eastern Faxai or the Shrine of the Gardener's Grace Hearth. But a variety of other names mark the pages of realm history, such as the Three Winters Hearth, the Hearth that slew Roaring Mantis, or the Blood-stained Lotus Hearth.
Yikes.
Hearths form bonds of camaraderie that transcend the lines between houses, dividing a scion's loyalties between the family of her blood and the family of her oath. The Empress found this a useful source of conflict for her to wield, and so helped enshrine the tradition in the realm's culture. To betray one's house in service of one's hearth is a tragedy, not a treasonous disgrace.
Ooh, interesting. Sorry, just finding that interesting.
I forgot that these don't have like written oaths the way Changeling did. I was initially like, that's why I wanted the page. I was like, what exactly are the words that I'm going to be saying? But there's no such thing, which is fine.
Maybe going to be saying.
It always involves a recitation of the names of those forming it, statement of intent, and a vow of dedication, spoken as the participants' animas flare. When the ritual is complete, the newly sworn companions know it deep in their bones. Hearths typically cannot have more than 5 members. The storyteller may make an exception for games with more than 5 Dragon-Blooded PCs.
Aww,
Thanks,
nice.
game.
A Dragon-Blood may join an existing hearth by swearing loyalty in the presence of all its members. And you are allowed to rescind your oath by informing every other member of your sworn kinship, whether singly or in a group, that the oath is no longer valid. The hearth is shattered is the most common way to phrase it in the realm. Her bonds to her former hearth are severed, giving her an instinctive sense of finality and leaving nothing where her sworn kin could once sense her presence. But if somebody deliberately betrays one of her sworn kin or her entire hearth, her treachery shatters her tie, she loses all temporary willpower. But unlike formal renunciations, the member of a traitor's hearth don't automatically realize the bond has been broken. Because the main thing that you get is that a dragon-blood can sense the presence of her sworn kin, and some dragon-blooded charms confer additional benefits when used with one's hearthmates. And the death of a hearthmate is felt as a sharp shock to the soul, sure and unmistakable. This has been your Sworn Kinship Primer.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
John.
Thank you.
Thanks. When I look around, I see 5 princes of the earth who are strong on their own, but could be stronger together. With those words, just to sneak it in there, can I attempt an instill action on Siontel? I just want to slip it in there a little bit.
Damn it, Pyres.
Sorry.
Okay. What are you trying to instill in Siontel?
I am using those words, which I am directing to everybody. I would like to instill in Siontel
Right.
the intimacy. I can stand on my own. I would like to try to exploit a known defining intimacy of hers, which is however they see me is the truth, because I now see her this way. How does that work? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thanks. Sorry to...
You're exploiting a defining intimacy, which means that your difficulty, because she is going to resist with another intimacy of hers, your difficulty, her resolve is now effectively 3.
Okay. Would this be charisma socialize, do you think? Or
This is going to be charisma presence, because you're not directly interacting with her. You are making a big, statement.
God damn it, Gillard, good.
Yes,
Okay.
good.
Yes, okay. Eight successes.
Okay. She will not spend a point of willpower. Your instill is successful.
Awesome.
She now has the minor intimacy, I can stand on my own.
Good intimacy.
But I'll repeat the sentiment, because we were also in the midst of talking about swearing an oath of kinship. So, sorry
I
about
don't
that.
think I need you guys.
Yeah, fuck it.
Bye.
You know what? I'm good. But the sentiment is to look around and to say, I see 5 princes of the earth who are strong on their own, but even stronger together.
Why are there 4 mirrors up here that I can't see? Shove. Ah!
Pyres takes days of self-study very seriously.
Let's be fair, half the student body takes study of Pyres seriously.
Advantage.
I'm in an O-level class. Oh.
What'd you say?
He
I
said,
said-
I'm an O-level class.
Eh?
Well, like owls?
Yes.
Yeah,
but
but
also
like an O.
O's, yes. I'm
I hate
sorry.
you, Pyres.
I'm just gonna I hate you, Flyers. Get him out of here.
Is
Get
this something
Brevin in
that
here
we wish to
instead.
do?
The Hearth of True Bells
Oh.
as an idea.
I reach up to hit the bell, and then I think better
Don't
of it
do
because
that.
it's huge, and we
Please stop.
fucking fire. Sorry. I mean, I love it.
Then we are here for each other. That we stand as one. Whether to support the House of Bells or to rebel against it. Whether to seek out this mystery or protect it. No matter what, we are for each other.
For each other.
For each other.
For each other.
For each other. And I deviens du soir.
I arrested you.
I, Pyres, do swear.
I, Gale whispered, do swear.
I see and tell do swear. So your animas all flare a little bit. So the combination of earth, fire, air.
I want to like
water,
hold the clapper so
wood.
it doesn't get
Yeah,
shaken
shit.
into
Yep.
ringing.
Yep.
Well, it's that your animas flare. It's not that you beacon. You know, like
Yeah.
you're not.
Okay,
It's,
go.
it's that your animas
That
kind
my
of
fault?
reach out and intermingle for a second, and you can feel the warmth and freedom and stability and creation and depth. You now all gain a distinct impression that your hearthmates are with you. You now know when they are present. You can sense them, that presence, when needed. Breaking a sworn kinship is uncommon, but it definitely happens. So I will not tell you that if you break one or if you decide to leave one, then like it's not like being an oath breaker in Changeling. It happens often in
Thank
tales of tragedy.
Big smile on his face when he said tragedy. Did anyone else see
Heart-
that? Or
Hearthmates also can drift apart over time. That doesn't necessarily end the kinship. It just is like, yeah, sometimes, oh, I gotta, like I have my duty is taking me over to the east, and someone's like, well, I've got to stay here in the Blessed Isle, and that's okay. It doesn't things. But in everyday life, this sort of hearth provides a refuge, someone with whom to relax and chat, play gateway, and discuss poetry and warfare, or spend a few months in Antang.
Sweet.
it's like my perfect life.
Sorry?
Gale is the happiest clam currently.
Oh, I said it's like my perfect life.
Nice.
Nice.
So there you go. That's what you have so far. Anything else
It's pretty
that
big.
you need to
no?
know about sworn kinships?
Oh, I
Does
see.
it add an intimacy?
No, that's up to you.
Okay.
I should say, once you've joined a sworn kinship, you may sense the direction and approximate distance to another member of it by spending one mote.
Which, for what it's worth, actually seems incredibly valuable. Like, not all the time, obviously, but like, if someone was taken, you would have a pretty good, right? I'm just saying, like,
You
you'd have
know
a pretty,
which direction to put your rampage.
I have a very
with-
specific set of skills, and it's to know where the person you took is.
Yes.
They're somewhere over there.
Direction and
I'm gonna
Direction
point a
and
rest on
approximate
that
distance.
direction and run
So I
behind
should
Yeah, I was
point
gonna
out,
say.
this is not like, you can't kind of sit there and like go ping, okay, they're that way. Ping, okay, they're that way. Ping. Like once you're in the general area where they are, it's not like you can home in directly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
that you know that they're approximately where they are.
like I could tell if I was somewhere else, I could tell, okay, they're probably on campus, sort of thing.
It's a bit more precise than that. Like if
Yeah.
you were in the barracks and you wanted to know where Pyres was,
Yeah.
you could kind of be like, okay, he's kind of in the direction of the forge. But you
Yeah.
wouldn't
His
necessarily
dog
be
is
able to
just
know
going
where in the forge he was, or
Yeah.
if he was specifically in the forge.
Lying in bed
The other
with
thing
Yeah.
is, if you don't know that the forge is like, oh yeah, that's like 300 meters away,
Yeah.
you just know that, yeah, he's a distance away, but you don't
Mhm.
automatically know where he is
No.
or what
Cool.
surrounds him.
Yep.
I would encourage all of you, however, to potentially adjust your intimacies based on how you feel about the 4 other people in your kinship, as well as the kinship itself.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
But that's up to you.
Yeah, we're good.
Hashtag Chaos Cats. All right.
It was worrisome. We're okay.
So now that we've bared our souls and all that, is there anything else that we've missed? Anything else that we need to know?
I don't intend to let this go. You all should know that the more somebody tells me not to look into something, the more likely I am to do it. So it's only fair Arresta came clean, saying that she would keep standing up for what's right. I don't like things being hidden from me, and I don't really care about the consequences of that.
Yeah, you should have mentioned that under exploitable, I think.
Probably should have.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're gonna get to the bottom of this. One way or another.
If you choose to latch on to something, don't worry. We'll make sure you see it to the end.
Well, you're all coming with me. You have to now.
Whether
Ha,
we
ha,
like it
ha,
or not.
ha.
Is that
Yeah, I guess we kind of do.
it's good to have friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clunk.
And I say yeah. Friends, Gale whispered. Clink. Clink. I don't know. Okay, fuck it. All right,
Do I need to double
This is
fist?
so
Sad.
Yeah, I was. I'm gonna get more tea.
Okay.
Cheers. I'm gonna
Cheers.
get more tea. Is that okay?
Squirt's
People
going.
mind?
Hey, could I give this to you if you're going to the kitchen anyway?
So what's next? Where are we going from here?
Well,
Commander?
Gale and Pyres were told to report back on their findings after speaking to Viren. We should figure out whether they do and what they do. I think we should keep every plate spinning that we can. So we have to figure out what we report back.
I could certainly go with a very boring story. I could talk about what we discussed after you all left about Gateway and strategy and how that was his intention, or something like how he intends to find the strongest students at the House of Bells, which is why the games are structured the way that they are. I don't think saying what he is ultimately trying to do is a good idea. But I'm also not going to lie.
I think as much truth as we can share is to our benefit in all situations. It's easier to omit details than to tell flat out lies.
Do we trust Nguyen?
Exactly.
Nguyen, yeah,
Thank you.
that.
Is the V pronounced like a W in your
It's-
name?
It's Nuven. It's
Yeah,
Nuven.
sorry. Sorry.
I mixed up Juin and
Yeah, I
Nuven,
know.
and
I'm just
I
trying
fucked
to-
it up and
Trying to make sure
I'm
I'm not mispronouncing
sorry.
something.
Oh boy. Oh, jeez. There's weeping. I leave for 2 seconds.
Do we trust Nuven? Because if we trust Nuven, telling her what's going on with Viren doesn't necessarily betray him.
No, I agree. But it all depends on who's playing which game.
I just don't know which side I'm on. All I know is that I'm on your side.
You could be on multiple sides and no sides simultaneously. It's getting to be very overwhelming, all of the things that could be working against us. But, as I said, we have to use everything to our advantage.
If Viren is here to root out traitors, and he's using the games to do that, then unless Nuven is in on that, then she'll want the same thing.
This is true.
I say we go to her.
And tell her?
Either she will approach him directly, explain the situation, and they'll work together, or she won't, which might seem suspicious.
What do you think?
Newvin has always been a figurehead in a way to me, not a real person that I've interacted with, that I've gotten a read on. I would have liked to have thought of her as a point of stability before this year.
No one in House Tappet is a point of stability right now. A reminder that House Tappet recently suffered extreme losses in a campaign against an anathema, and therefore who were recently considered front runners as like the house to take over, now have been knocked significantly back, and they were well liked. You know, they were seen as like champions, like Kathak, and now
She's been the headmaster the whole time we're here, though, right?
that is correct.
She didn't leave to fight with her house. If anything, I wonder if being of House Tappet means that you're under extra scrutiny already. It's that much harder to be a traitor right now. So either she's very good at it, or she isn't one.
The more I hear what you all have to say, the more I like the idea of just putting all our cards on the table when it comes to the Commandant.
I think you catch more fish with real bait. To mix metaphors.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whenever and wherever possible, we tell as much of the whole truth to whoever we think we can. And it doesn't mean we trust them implicitly, but seeing how they react to the news, to the truth, whether they expected it, whether they're shocked by it, hopefully we can get a true reaction.
I also hope to understand if there's truth to what Viren said about... Or no, wait. I'm not sure. Was it Viren or Juin who apparently was the one who kept us at the school and decided who...
Juin was the one, according to the letter that you receive from the flag,
Right.
that Juin was the one responsible for choosing who was expelled.
I need to know if whoever wrote the letter was telling the truth. And I'm hoping that the Commandant will be forthcoming in this. Because if it was not Juin, then it was her who decided to keep us. And if it was her, then why?
It also means that we know that we can trust whoever wrote that letter. Or at least that they were being honest with us.
In that instance, yes.
I do strongly suspect that the fact is true. But whether or not her having chosen to keep the three of us means that she can't be trusted is an entirely... I think those are two separate questions. I think someone else is playing the hide things inside of truth game.
I think it bears mentioning as well, we've now told two separate people we wouldn't tell anyone else about conversations we've had. And we are talking about going to the Commandant with all of that information.
Conveniently, they're all people who hate each other. So I feel like any altercations will not be direct.
That's true. Yeah.
So if we tell the Commandant what Viren said, I hope that what will happen is she will ask us to help her to work against him. Or gather more information, which would be wonderful for us.
Let's be upfront about the fact that we were asked not to disclose the conversation. That'll mean that we are trusting her over him. whether or not we actually are.
It worries me that the Commandant has such distaste for these games and yet does not use her authority to, I don't know, eject Vieren or try to work with him.
I think that's a question to ask. Why is he permitted to do what he's doing, or all of this, right? If she has set you a task and you've completed it, in exchange for that, an answer or two may be merited.
Then we know what we gotta do. Now, is it just you who's going, or all of us?
Thing.
Well, this would be a good opportunity to make our oath known.
If there's anyone who needs to know, yeah, it would be the Commandant. And the Quartermaster.
Let's tell the Commandant first.
Yeah.
I was tasked to do this and deliver a report. I'm just following orders.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you normally do?
Well, to be honest, I want to know a little bit more about how Stephead's defeat, but perhaps now is not the time for that.
It's your guile.
3.
Cool. Santel is trying to determine whether you have any intimacies towards orders or hierarchy.
Okay.
To the character sheet.
And I do succeed, for what it's worth.
Okay.
It's possible the answer is no, in which case
What do
that's
you
totally
think?
fine.
Do you think any of those track?
Ah,
You don't get to write any onto your. You must forget them immediately.
they are going to be immediately forgotten, trust me. I wonder about the word there.
Oh, there's
Right?
like...
Kind of
Yeah, I
implies.
guess that's fair. Okay, yes. Defining intimacy.
Okay.
Forbidden knowledge yields untold victories.
Okay.
So that sort of
That's
implies
against
like a
orders. That means
breaking
that
of
you
the
will
rules.
disobey an order
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
order to secure victory. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's a stretch,
Knowledge.
Yeah.
but yeah. Okay. Understood.
Thanks, Scott. Forget.
I'll clean up. I'll get the keg out of here, and
We'll clean up. But yeah, you know where you found it. You know where to ditch it.
What time is it?
it's like noon.
Yeah.
Drinking
Day
since like 10
drinking.
a.m.
We should
Exalted.
likely catch some rest, considering our lack thereof last night, before we go ahead and approach the Commandant.
Yeah, we
Afternoon nap.
can talk to her tomorrow if we need to.
Yeah. Things won't
We'd
change
best be sharp.
drastically.
Thanks, team.
Of course.
You've all been really candid, and I appreciate honesty and directness. I just had to say that.
So, what are you doing with the rest of your day? Here's the thing. We have 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't imagine you're going to get to your conversation with Nuven this session. So, is there something that you want to pursue in this day? Just call it out. If it's something that we definitely can't accomplish, then that's fine. If it's something that you want to accomplish on your own but can be accomplished in like 5-10 minutes, that's fine. But shout it out. Is there something that you wish to pursue, someone you want to talk to, something you want to do?
I guess I'd like to just check on the quad and see if they're still marching around playing at being special soldiers.
Okay. Well, that you can tell from the top of the belfry. They are not marching around, but they are sitting together, discussing, talking. Brevin is standing and doing, he's being commandery.
Can we see a little bit of what that looks like, John, from our vantage point?
All right.
If it's not too much trouble. Yes. Look at this.
This is fucking high caliber shit, man.
I'm just waiting for this.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh my
yes!
god. Oh.
And we lost
I
Pyres.
pass out over the wall of the building.
And tumble to your death.
Yeah, like
Pyre's
Sauron.
nose just starts bleeding uncontrollably.
That was amazing. Thank you, John. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I mean, I need to rest, but I think I have something I want to accomplish, which is that I would like to approach Bracken at the library and ask her who to fight. Yeah, no, no. I'd like to ask her, in her opinion, who a good debate partner might be for me to practice. I'm serious. It's a serious question.
Who are you asking? Sorry?
Sinus Bracken. The
Okay, so you're
library.
going to go and talk to Bracken.
Yes.
All right. And Gail whispered anything that you're looking at? Aresta as well,
Gail's-
because now I told
yeah.
you what you were...
Gail's not feeling strong enough to talk to Bracken today. She's gonna need like one night's sleep and maybe not be tipsy. So I think she'll just go back to the barracks and like read some of her forbidden books.
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 Okay.
Aresta would also like to just see if she can't get any hint of where Leanne might be. And that she's alive still. And still on campus.
All right.
What?
Then let's start with Bracken.
Live.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Bracken is in the library. She is currently rebinding certain books when you arrive.
Would she have a title? Like librarian, or
Librarian.
keeper of the books? Okay.
Yeah. She holds rank over you. All professors do.
Oh, I have no doubt that I'll be smarmy about it at some point. Yeah.
Oh.
I kidding. Afternoon.
How may I be of assistance, cadet?
It's knowledge I seek, although I don't believe it's knowledge that I will be able to find in here.
Then one must ask why you are here.
For you. As this is a day of self-study, I have already trained today. I can always use more training, but I believe as a well-rounded soldier and leader, it is my duty to learn more about the finer arts of rhetoric, being well-spoken, how to curb some of my passions, perhaps. Would you happen to know anyone who might be a good teacher for that sort of thing?
Do you believe that your passions are a detriment to you, cadet?
No, I believe they are an incredible asset. I just think it's important to at least have the illusion of controlling them.
You must always control your passions, cadet. You are, after all, here in a library. Do you believe that I could remain here among all of these incredibly flammable books if I could not control my own passions?
I would never want to damage anything in this library.
Remember that she is a fire aspect, just like you are.
That's a good point.
If you are looking for instruction in rhetoric, I'm certain that we can find a professor for you who might be willing to accept you into one of his classes. But if you're looking for more private tutelage, you'll have to find it among the student body. I don't imagine that professors would have time for one-on-one discussions.
I suppose that's true.
Although admittedly, there is one who might be able to be convinced. But you've already visited him today.
You're right.
He knows how to
meant-
work a crowd. And one thing that I will tell you is that in order to work a crowd, you can do it in one of two ways. By increasing your own passion so much that others have no choice but to follow in your wake. Or by remaining so cold that you can manipulate everyone around you while keeping a steady head yourself. Now, which do you believe Viren is?
I believe let's excuse me, Brevin must have just passed by. So sorry.
My change of life is upon me.
I believe, just like myself, that the Games Master is the former.
I see. But I do not necessarily agree.
Oh. Have I misjudged him then?
I cannot answer all of your questions, Cadet. I can tell you that one does not ascend to such a position without earning it. Perhaps he can help you master your own passion.
I don't have to follow in his footsteps exactly. I don't need to return here as a Games Master upon graduation.
You do know that Viren is a decorated war hero, yes?
Yes, of course I do.
That he was a commander of an entire Talon that managed to successfully conduct several different raids across the south.
Perhaps he is the one I should be speaking to then.
Everyone here at the House of Bells belongs at the House of Bells. Whether they should remain, that's up to their skill, talent, and loyalty.
I have those in spades.
I'm not certain I'm the one who you need to convince, Cadet. Good day.
I turn and go.
You didn't bring me any sweets, that's all you get.
Amateur.
Pyres will remember this. I don't think I
Yum.
knew that actually.
The rest of it.
Oh, sorry, Pyres didn't. I mean,
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna head past the second year barracks thing.
Leanne is not at the second year barracks. And in fact, why don't you give me a good old fashioned charisma socialize?
I think I'd like to use my specialty to make use of my social skillsy trainings to all the better talk to people.
Sure.
One of these things. I'm pretty sure I bought it.
hey guys, you seen Leanne? No, Aresta. You seen Leanne? Yeah, she's over there.
You look for that.
Yeah. So,
We'll go over to
Metal.
Gale Whispered and we'll come back to you.
Gale whispered. Oh, books.
So you head back
Yeah.
into the barracks,
Yeah.
Sorry, forgot about the crush.
pulling out your books.
Yes, I'm specifically reading the one that I got in episode 1 or 2. The one, the treatise on the events following the disappearance of the Scarlet Empress. Just finishing that one up.
Okay. It does make for some quite interesting reading. It's a little dry, but then again, that probably doesn't matter as much to Gale because it is chock full of information.
And I also am specifically reading it because I love that it's a biased account, and I can tell exactly like what the bias is and what their agenda is as a result. So I think Gale really enjoys reading those types of books.
Do you make it a secret that you have the book?
I don't think I would bother hiding it from my fang mates, but I wouldn't like announce it throughout the school because it's not one
Like
that
it's not like
access to.
it's not like you hide the book under your mattress or anything like that. But you're not, reading it under a tree.
Yeah, when I'm out of the barracks, I do put it out of sight.
As you're reading, at one point, Flavienne comes back into the room. Everything all right?
Yes.
I was going to just make sure that everybody had enough to eat. Are you all right in that respect?
Yes, I am. That's very considerate of you. Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing to what I proposed.
It was foreign to me, but
What is foreign to you?
the Oath of Kinship. I don't know if anybody else has ever sworn one before, but I didn't.
I believe there's a lot that is new for us.
I didn't expect it to feel like a big weight had been lifted.
And yet you feel that way?
Do you?
I honestly believe all of us do. Chantal especially. It seemed that she walked out of there with new purpose.
I guess she can be sure that we all trust each other now. That was important to her.
Honestly, it's important, I think, to all of us. She just... maybe more so.
It was very important to her.
Okay. I won't interrupt your reading.
I think what you did was correct. By the way, I know you don't need my approval, but I think what you did was correct.
I appreciate hearing that. I appreciate you, Gale Whisper.
I appreciate you, Flavienne.
And she steps out of the room. Do you have a specialty?
Yes, I do.
Cool. What's your specialty?
Loquacious torture technique, I get to add an automatic success remote, so I'm doing that.
All right.
Loquacious torture technique.
I heard torture technique. I'm like, what are you doing?
Courtier.
Tickle, tickle.
So loquacious.
Ooh.
I'm gonna quash.
And so I would like to take on an attitude of older student offering perhaps like, oh yeah, I'm looking to help out the younger students today with my day of self-study.
That doesn't sound any mocking, is it?
No.
Okay.
He's going bonk, bonk, bonk.
All right. And are you trying to what are you trying to get out of it? Are you trying to find information about Leanne?
I'm trying to find out where Leanne is.
Okay.
Or where she has been today.
By all means, go right ahead, and you can stunt for 2 dice on that one.
4 with my.
So you find out the following.
Mhm.
Leanne's duties as a messenger ends up taking a lot more of her time than her fangmates thought originally, and they kind of are annoyed by it. But at the same time, they don't resent her for it, and in fact, they get a little bit of extra help now and then because they understand that she is often called away. But they're also convinced that she has a secret lover because she keeps going away,
Incredible.
and sometimes at night, and not necessarily for any duties that they've heard of.
Hmm. Well,
But whoever her lover is, it couldn't be another second year. They've eliminated that possibility.
well.
They're all very like gossipy about it, by the way.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say like
Yeah,
a
I
lot
wanna
of
say
info to this guy.
XOXO.
What she does with
Second
her
years.
private
Oh, okay.
time, to some extent, is her private business, as long as you're sure that
Hell no.
not.
She's a member of this fang. If she screws up, I need to know about it.
Is why you need to make sure that it's not someone that has ill intent towards her.
It's not you, is it?
No.
You can tell that the leader of her fang
Yeah.
is starting to be a little bit kind of like, oh, I'm going to sass back against the 5th year, and that'll make me look cool.
I can let them. No. But
His name is Quick Rat, by the way.
Quick Rat.
Quick
Man, his
rat.
parents hated
Quick
him.
Rat.
Great name. Big fan.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
But when you're trying to get information out of someone, pretend to care. Use the fact that I am seriously encouraging you to make sure that she's not seeing someone that has ill intent towards her. But play upon that. Use that as a way to get the real dish.
I wish I could help you. I just know that she is out there doing what she needs to do, and we're going to support her as best we can. And if what she's doing is meeting up with somebody, then it's okay too, as long as she's not putting the rest of us in danger. But she gets a lot of leeway. Running messages means that often she gets to go places that other students don't, and that she gets to miss events that otherwise she'd be noticed, because she's often working with the faculty.
Good tip for your future years when you get to wiggle your way towards an assignment.
Maybe. But honestly, it's just because she's quick and fast and she can be trusted.
Well, thanks.
Anytime.
I can let her know that I was checking up on her if you want. You don't have to hide it.
I don't hide anything from my fang mates. I don't, and I bet you don't either. Commander.
I don't kiss and tell. I wink and I leave.
The rumors are swirling.
Lady
Well now.
Whistledown is aghast.
Fucking lady.
Dear readers.
Anything else that
scandal.
anybody wants to accomplish?
Just that I'd like to wrap up the day with like furiously studying
Oh.
furiously studying that the note that was sent to us. Yeah.
Like evaluating it and going over it?
Yeah. And the seal too. Yeah.
Okay. The seal, I will tell you. You know what? Why don't you roll me your perception larceny?
Hey,
Uh,
great.
And you can add your 2 dice for your stunt.
Thanks.
Pyres, anything on your end?
I don't believe so, no. I would
Arresto?
hit the bunk.
Yeah. Head back, grab a good book, return Pyre Swords to their weighty home, and yeah, pull up a good book and get into my bunk.
So like rest.
Yeah.
Iris has like a magazine or some shit.
What I can tell you is that seal is handcrafted. It is sealed by like a seal, a proper metal piece, but it's not like it is made by somebody who created it, not expertly. It's still quite nice. Like, don't get me wrong, it doesn't look shabby by any means, but this is not like a seal that has been pressed and generated out of a mold. This is a seal that somebody hand carved.
Boy.
Okay. And yeah, we already established that I didn't recognize any of the handwriting. What about like the possibility of detecting if there was like a charm or something hidden within it, like a linguistics charm?
Interesting. Why don't you roll me your perception occult?
Ooh. Oh, my first occult roll, I think.
Oh, Gale has a lot of
You can
occult
keep your
knowledge.
stunt for this. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks.
Cult.
The thing.
That's 8 successes.
Woo!
Yeah, there was a linguistics. Like you can tell that this was created by somebody who wrote extremely quickly, supernaturally quickly, based on your examination and evidence.
Ah.
Whirlwind brush, does it?
I was just thinking that,
Whirling.
Kate.
Well,
Talk
now
about that
remember,
later.
There are probably Dragon-Blooded equivalents.
now, remember that charms are not codified in 3rd edition. You don't teach somebody whirling brush method. It's just like you're so good at linguistics and
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
essence powers you to be able to do it really fast or to copy something perfectly and stuff like that. So while you might say like, oh yeah, an exalted could learn how to do this, they wouldn't necessarily be like, that's this.
No.
But
Yeah, somebody
it is
rolled it.
possible that with enough examination of it, you would be able to then detect some common threads that would have you understand, if you saw it again, this looks like the work of the same person who did that before.
So I'd like to start that process, I guess.
Nice.
Studying it. Sleep with it under my pillow.
Probably put some bones on it or whatever.
Who is trying to sleep extra this time around? Or is it just sort of like studying? Are your actions more important than actively getting rest? Are you the kind of person who's like, I'll just keep reading for one more bit? Or are you the kind of person who's like, no, it's sleep time?
Normally I'm the former, but we're meeting the commandant tomorrow and I need to be rested, so I'm asleep.
Okay.
I always rest extra, so I will be resting extra.
Then none of you find out what happens that evening. But we'll end the session there.
Too bad the entire conspiracy unravels while you sleep, you little bastards.
You wake up, your room's on fire. Oh my god. No.
I mean,
Oh,
you're
no.
welcome if you want to roll your perception alertness at a high penalty.
I mean,
How high a penalty?
how high a penalty are we talking?
Your difficulty is going to be 5, and you cannot use charms to increase. You're asleep. You were intending to go to bed.
Yeah, no.
Unless you have a charm that specifically can be activated reflexively.
It'd be so cool.
Which I think is probably most excellency. So yeah, you can use charms. What am I saying?
I'm not gonna roll this.
I'm gonna roll it and
Supplement
just to see what
points.
happens. Will I get
Okay.
penalized if I fail or just if I botch?
It's possible you might botch.
Yeah, but if I fail, it's
If you
just
fail,
gonna
you
be like
fail.
Okay.
It's just a failure. You stay asleep.
We're hoping for
Hooray.
the botch. I mean, I know I am, but I'm not hoping.
Oh my god.
There are a lot of ones in there, but 3 successes, which is insufficient.
I actually rolled 5 successes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And we're back in game for a second.
Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. I really expected
No,
to fail.
don't be sorry.
Back in the game, baby.
Excellent.
I apologize.
Tyres looks beautiful while he sleeps. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting it
Oh.
out there like a fucking angel.
Motherfucker.
about an hour before everybody kind of drifts off to sleep, you, Gale Whispered, awaken to see a clad in a white nightgown. Siantel is sneaking out of the window.
I would like to also attempt to sneak out the wait, let me check my athletics. I'd like to go down the stairs and go out the door.
It's just on the first floor. Like going out the
I
window.
will go
is
out the
not
window.
difficult.
Yeet.
Bricks are nice.
Oh my god. My
Um, You see her, and she's just flexing her toes in the earth, just underneath the window. When she sees you, and her eyes widen for a second, and then sees that it's you, and she relaxes a little bit. Oh, hey.
What are you doing?
It's a temperate climate, but the earth here, it's starting to wake up a bit. I mean, winter doesn't make too much of a difference here, but I can feel it.
But what are you doing?
It's been a big day. I just needed a moment to stop and to think about what happened, and knowing what I know now about everybody and about all of you, and I just wanted to make sure that I was thinking straight, and in order to think straight, I needed to not be right there surrounded by all of you asleep.
Oh. Should I let you think in peace?
Is that what you want?
I don't know.
Why?
I don't know what you want, so I don't know what I want.
I thought you thought of everything. It always feels like you've got everybody's moves planned 2 moves, 3 moves in advance.
I don't know your moves.
I mean, it's just me. It's just my moves.
Yeah. I can analyze you, but I don't ever know really what you're thinking. And my brain gets kind of fuzzy sometimes when I try.
Why does your brain get fuzzy?
I don't know.
Like, because you're just thinking of too many things all at once?
Probably that's it.
No. No, I don't know if I believe that.
I will do further investigating into the inner workings of my mind and let you know.
Read intentions. Gail whispered, what is your intention for this scene? Oh, I didn't succeed, so.
Excellent. Ta-da.
Totally didn't succeed there.
Did you botch?
No.
Oh.
No. I got 1 success. I did have a 1 on the table.
I'm gonna go back inside.
You don't have to. Here. And she digs her fingers down into the earth and lifts it up a little bit. You feel this part right here? It's cold, right?
Yeah.
At night, when it's winter, the top layer of the earth gets cold. It has to. That's what happens with the air that surrounds it. But if you dig even deeper, and then she pushes her hand, and it almost looks like she can move effortlessly in the earth, and then she brings it up. This is where it's warm. Under the surface. Here.
It's waking up.
Yeah. It's waking up.
Good night.
Oh,
Night.
She's beetling back inside.
Going to bed?
We'll see. Trying. Probably
I think
just
we'll end the session there.
like that.
is this how you sleep?
All right, so we went over by 5 minutes.
It's all good.
You just had to
no.
succeed in your possible roll.
I didn't mean to, John. I thought I was going to fail. I
Oh
didn't
no,
even...
we had another scene between
How
Gale and
dare.
Chantel. I'm so upset.
I know.
Your hair okay?
Am I okay? Is your hair okay? I don't know. Is it?
No, you
So-
were pulling it out of your head.
Oh, sure, right.
Normally, this would be the point that I would say we're going to go around the table and we're just going to see what people learned, what they want to comment about each other. There is one thing that I really want to make sure that all of you know. Before you disconnect, next week, by the time it's time for us to tune in to watch ExalTwitch Academy Episode 9, Daylight Saving Time will be in effect where we are, which means that what our 6 p.m. is, 1800 hours, may not be the same as what you are used to it being, depending on when you shift your clocks. Please keep that in mind that we will be UTC -4, not -5. And hey,
Hello,
greetings,
Spain.
We like Spain. Or I like Spain. I'm not going to speak for everybody else.
Yes.
What
And we do have a current time clock on RPGClinic.com's homepage, but that will only change as of Sunday. So if you're not
2 a.m.
sure, you know, a little bit before usual, a couple hours before usual, RPG Clinic, ExalTwitch Academy time, RPGClinic.com, it'll have the new time zone.
And we will be reminding people on the Discord, don't worry, we're all losing an
on all
hour's sleep.
things.
We'll know.
Yeah.
We'll be pissed.
Yeah.
It's the shitty one.
Just wanted to check in briefly with you. You doing okay, Kate?
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're going to start off with Scott this time around.
Hello.
What did you learn?
I learned.
Hey, Chile.
Hello, Chile.
Hello. Welcome to all the new followers. I learned I learned a lot about our fang mates. Good Lord, Ripley. Okay, sorry, we're good. Oh, cat incoming, I think. And I specifically learned. I think the okay. Sorry. What I learned was that Vieren is telling us anyway that he's specifically working towards saving the House of Bells from a traitor. His conversation with Bracken also supports this, and that was very surprising to me. That's what I learned.
Great. Elizabeth?
Yeah, I was I learned that Bracken and Vieren are somehow in league. Very surprising stuff. Yeah.
It's legit.
Yeah.
Kate?
Learned a lot more about my fang mates and now hearth mates.
Ooh, sorry guys.
Sorry, guys. Ripley, fuck off. Come on. Go. Out you go. Go. Out. Out.
This is different. This wasn't here last time. Poke smack.
This wasn't here before.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Let's go then. Let's reverse for a little bit. Elizabeth, what'd you like about someone else at the table?
I really loved it when Pyres was talking about Brevin.
Oh,
I loved that whole part.
Oh boy.
It was so sweet and it felt so truthful and I really loved it. It was great.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Scott?
I want to highlight Kate just a moment that like as a player really surprised me and in the best possible way that like Oresta was like, I'm putting all my cards on the table and specifically that I have a problem with you or that I had a problem with you, Pyres. And I was like, because that actually, I mean, that surprised me as a player, but in a good way. I feel like it's deepened our relationship.
That was your secret intimacy, wasn't it?
Yep. Not a secret anymore. Ding, ding,
Oh
ding.
my god, amazing.
Yeah.
It was really cool though. I thought that was a really like, just the way it was delivered as well. It was like, anyway, yeah, that was really cool.
I'm really liking this #sale relationship. I love you're like accidentally like finding her crush and then not knowing what to do with it. Thank you, John. And then also, yeah, accidentally hearing her and walking in on her like with her feet in the dirt. So I don't know. I'm just loving the discovery in character and out of like the many layers. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! Thank you.
Well, you did learn quite a bit. I will say that. This beats you officially becoming a Sworn Kinship. Remember that this only happened in like episode 40 something.
Yeah.
For Changeling, and you made it
Because we
8.
had to. Yeah.
Yeah, it was marathon, right? 48
Yeah.
or whatever it was, right?
Yep.
Marathon sesh. Yeah, true. Does beat that.
Let's see if by episode 10 that's worked out for you. Maybe at that point, like Aresta and Pyres will like have their weapons at each other's throats, and
Sorry, she'll have her weapons and my weapons at my throat.
I don't need any weapons with these guns.
I don't need no weapons. Fuck you. Oh my god. Oh, incredible.
Yay.
so yeah. I'm gonna do a very quick check-in just before we move into our other things. Are everyone's lines and veils still totally intact? People are okay with what's going on. Nothing pushed too many boundaries here. We're all good.
Nope. That's a good check-in, John. Thank you.
Fantastic. Which means that it's time for us to talk about what's coming up this week.
This week, I'll start. I stream on Tuesday nights at 1800 hours Eastern. This week is still EST, although as we mentioned, as of next Sunday, that's going to change to daylight savings time. Paul Prospero is investigating the Seaview Hotel. It's spooktacular. We're enjoying ourselves, so come and jump in on that. It's going to be a good time.
My current status is not a scrub, but I'm looking for something that might be a bit more challenging. If you have a challenge for scrub check for this Wednesday, I'd love to hear it, because we're definitely looking for something. Remember, scrub checks are, can I do it in 2 hours, following the conditions that we agree upon beforehand? And if we can, fantastic. So far, a lot of them have been speedruns for games. Some of them have not been. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. But it is worth it to drop your challenges. The best place to do that is on our Discord. And we can come up with something, because so far we've been having some pretty good scrub checks, and I'd like to keep that one going. But I'm sure we'll find something there no matter what. Thursday, we had a great clinic hours last Thursday where we discussed a contract that had been making its way around Twitter, which caused no small amount of debate among our chat. So it's time for us to crawl out of that debate with what can we do with what we've discussed. We're going to come up with this Thursday. We're going to start our what would we put in a contract, when a contract would be appropriate, but then also what would we put in as a one-pager to hand on to either a new player or an advanced player about things that they might want to know going into a new role-playing session. So we're going to see if we can make some lemonade out of these lemons. That's this Thursday on this channel here, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So we're done Castle Crashers. We saved all of the princesses. And I think we're going to replay Punch Club. It's been a long time.
So down.
I'm pretty sure Scott wasn't here
I
for
came in really late,
most,
yeah.
if not all of it. So we're going to restart it, see if we can get some different endings.
Yes.
Anything.
And
Roy,
then
for
on
fuck's
Saturday,
sake.
we're doing the rewatch of
Oh, yeah,
this
of course.
at 11 Eastern. And then at 3, we're continuing the most bananas Nancy Drew book we've ever read. She's with the Hardy Boys. There's been murder, surfing, art thieves, drugs. Mr. Drew is doing God knows what with
colonialism.
There's been colonialism.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so
Capitalism.
there's a lot of spicy things in this one.
Oh god.
So
Nice.
tune in.
It's pretty spicy, I agree.
And then Sunday, Not the same RPG Clinic time because of time zone changes, but same channel. We'll be right back here with episode 9.
You want to keep track of us? We've got some new followers here. Best way to do that is to join our Discord. Our Discord is it's a great community. We got people who talk about this game, our previous games, role-playing in general, and also our individual streams. So please, by all means, if there's ever somebody who's choosing to stream randomly, Scott occasionally is now streaming after Drew Crew on Saturdays. Kate may end up doing some streams coming up during the day. That would be the best place to find out that information. So join that Discord. We'd love to see you. We'd love to talk with you. And honestly, it's also a great place to discuss what just happened here in the ExalTwitch Academy spoilers channel. So looking forward to seeing you there. We do have to thank our mods. Despite the fact that they're not here, they are in our hearts. She Who Knows 10,000 Things, Entropy's Disciple, and Strength of Borders. Aragorn the Crosshair, Real Brick Wall, are still there, still supporting. You'll see them on the Discord, but also responsible for such things as not only community management, but also Real Brick Wall does our synopses. You can look up a whole lot of information on this wiki. The wiki is updated not just by Real Brick Wall, but also by people like you. Because if you ever want to keep track of exactly what somebody looks like, or what aspect someone is, or how they've wronged you specifically, you can find that in the wiki. This is also available as a podcast. Search for RPG Clinic wherever you get your podcasts, and you'll be able to find that there. Or our YouTube channel where the VODs are. Am I missing anything?
I think that's good.
Gotta thank my players.
Thank you for
Gotta thank our storyteller.
Thank you.
Things are getting a little bit better in the world. Vaccinations are pouring out. We still have to stay vigilant. Keep your masks on. Stay safe. But remember, we're always going. See you next time.
Bye.